Yeah. Kartel Talk. ABQ, stand up. Hey! Turn it up. Hey! Turn it up. Yeah. From the 5-5 to the whole wide map. We in Duke City, put the truth on wax. Mic on the table, mismatched chairs. Desert in the window, we just breathe that air.
Next guest, an amazing guy. Everyone knows him here in Albuquerque. So turn it up because today our special guest brings nothing but straight pressure. Coming out of Rivera, New Mexico and repping Albuquerque, Tommy Two Scoops, an independent pro wrestler making serious noise across the Southwest and the West Coast, holding it down on the NWA New Mexico roster. We're talking TV commercials, stepping into the spotlight at Tingley Coliseum for TNA and selling out his hometown like nothing. But this isn't just talent. It's grit, hunger, and discipline and motivation. This is the man who bet everything and put everything on the line. Dropped out of college to chase his dream with zero guarantees, and even came back from a skull-breaking injury in just 8 months. Most don't even survive that. He leveled it up. Now he's locked in and coming for that TNA contract. Energetic, charismatic, and a straight machine and straight beast mode. Tap in, Tommy Two Scoops. Let's go.
Love that. Tap in or tap out.
Right, for real, bro. How are you, man?
Dude, I love that introduction. I'm doing great. I got chills. Thank you for that.
Hey, so did I, bro. How are you, man?
Dude, good. A little bit tired.
Yeah.
A little bit busy, but that's the name of the game.
Yes, you got to. I mean, you're always grinding, bro. I mean, I always see you at the gym, and you're always just helping people, and that's crazy.
That's what I do. I love helping people. I think that's my calling.
That's your calling?
Since I was a kid, I've found more happiness in giving than receiving.
Yeah.
I remember collecting rocks for my mom that were shaped like hearts, or drawing pictures for my dad of roosters or wrestlers, luchadors fighting, and I'd sign them and give it to him.
Yeah.
Even my siblings, I would draw their favorite basketball player. You know, my brother Benny liked Tim Duncan, so I'd draw a cartoon Tim Duncan and sign it and give it to him. All my life, so I've always liked giving, and then now I'm a personal trainer here in Albuquerque, and I do that all day. Is I help people. You know, a lot of times people just want to hear that they can do it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I joke to myself, like, my job is to tell people, like, I believe in you and you can do it. Yeah. And it's very rewarding, you know?
And that's awesome to hear, man. That's very rewarding, like you said. And it's one of those things that sometimes giving back is a lot better than receiving. And I do see that the clients that you have, you know, because I observe people and they're happy, man. They're just, good. You can just tell that, you know, they're grinding and you know, it's just the joy of it. And that in itself speaks volumes, bro. Money can't buy that. You know what I mean?
Dude, thank you. That's a big compliment to me. Especially because I have a wide variety of clients.
Yeah.
You know, my youngest is 17 and my oldest is 84.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, wide spectrum there. And each of them have different needs and all of them are different phases of their life and they all have different points of or what goals are in the gym. You know, some of them, it's a goal to step outside and walk on the grass for 10 steps and walk back inside with their knee mobility, their hip mobility. And some of them, you know, they just have the role of ambition, you know, that just want to be better, want to be a wrestler, want to be a boxer, you know. So for someone to invest time and money and trust into me to help them get to their goals, like, how rewarding is that? Because I've been down that path so many times and I'm still currently down that path.
Yeah.
You know?
And it just sounds like, you know, you're just a very organic person, you know, from like you said, drawing those pictures, giving them to your family and collecting rocks and giving them to your mom, and then now personal training. And then you're also a professional wrestler, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Like that in itself is like, you're just there you're there to help people and entertain people and please people.
Most importantly and least successfully. That's my professional wrestling is everything to me.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing professional wrestling now?
So if we exclude the backyard wrestling days in high school with my buddies, I officially started training in June of 2019 at the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center.
Okay.
That is in Mesa, Arizona. And that was a tryout. June 29th, it was 113 degrees. I had a sinus infection. Brutal tryout. And I've never been to the big city before. I grew up in a small town. And drove out there, and it was just brutal. Like I said, a little sinus infection. And at the time, I was in rugby shape, which 2019 national championship in college rugby. So I thought I was in good shape. I was 170 pounds, and I was very quickly humbled.
Yeah,
wrestling shape is a whole other ball game, especially at that location. It was brutal, dude. It was 10 movements, but the first movement is a 20-minute run in a 113-degree garage. And there's one rule: just don't stop. Like,
that's crazy.
And that's how we started. And then it was burpees, and then it was lunges, and then it was squats, and then it was push-ups, and they're timed, and tire flips in the heat. But yeah, so June of 2019 was my tryout day. And then, I didn't know what to expect, to see if I'd move on or if I was have to go back home to see if I passed the tryout or not. And it took everything out of me.
Yeah.
But long story short, which we'll get into the full story, I ended up starting. I made the cut, the top 10 there, and it was organic, man. I love you said organic earlier, because everything felt like home.
Yeah. Like it was meant to be.
The entire time. I remember, it sounds like a movie, and as cheesy and cliche as it sounds, but I remember the Arizona sunsets. I remember seeing on TikTok, Instagram, like Arizona sunsets are unbeatable. And I'm like, nah, New Mexico hasn't beat.
Yeah.
But I remember having vivid memories of training, and it's 7, 8 p.m. and the sun's coming down, and, I'm grinding, I'm flipping tires, and I'm sprinting, and I'm working as hard as I can. I'm throwing up, and then just seeing the sunset, and I'm like, this is a movie. Like, this is a Rocky training montage. And I've never once felt like I wasn't in the right place at the right time.
And you know what? That's awesome. That's just great to hear, man, because you're still chasing that dream, and you're living in the moment. And how does that feel to because let's start here.
Mm-hmm.
When did you want to start pursuing this career? Like, what got you into I want to be a wrestler?
So if I'm honest, that's the only job I've ever thought I've had. True story. You could quiz my mom on this, but my 2 first words was Guy. I would call my oldest brother Guy. And then I would say The Rock. Everything was The Rock. That was normal to me. I grew up watching it. My dad grew up watching it. His dad was watching it. My grandfather wanted to be a wrestler. So I never got to meet my grandfather. He passed away before I was born. But in a lot of ways, I get to do it for him. And, he'll live through me when I'm in the ring. And that's one of my favorite compliments, is that people say I'm just like him. I think that's an awesome thing. I got chills just saying that. Yeah. I know he's always with me, even though I've never met the guy, but maybe we are the same person. I don't know. But he wanted to be a wrestler. And, my dad was a very successful boxer here in Albuquerque when he was a kid. So I've always liked boxing in the ring and stuff. And I'm the youngest of all boys.
So you being in the ring, bro, that's just built into your DNA then.
It's never felt, it's so natural. I own a ring.
That's crazy.
And I in my parents' house, and I'll just lay in it, play in it, I'll have fun in it. And absolutely my most favorite place to be is inside the ring, whether it be in front of nobody, 13 people or 3,000 people, it's.
So how does it feel, right? So we'll kind of jump on that. So how does it feel? I know sometimes some shows don't always sell out, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you're in the back room, you're getting yourself ready, right? You're walking out and you look and there's 3 people, or there's 3,000 people. How do you does that mentally mess with you? Or do you you know what? I'm still going to deliver the way I deliver, even if it was sold out. How do you have the mentality? How does that feel?
Everyone has on nights and off nights, I would say. Because there's been times this last Duke City show, I'll be quite honest, I've just had a hard month. March kicked my butt. I started off March 1st getting hit by a semi on I-25. Cars totaled. The wife's in a sling. She can't work. So I'm doing all the financials. Also, I'm booked every weekend without a car. And my truck has a check engine light. And I have to replace all my brakes. That's a $3,000 job. And then, I have to replace my spark plugs. And then I have to work on my another truck so I could have 2 vehicles in town. So I'm sharing a vehicle. And so anyways, lots of little in-betweens of stuff that like very much challenged me in March. So I had a bad showing and it was packed. And I took like 5 days to like, man, I wish I could redo that match.
Yeah.
But I'm very fortunate to say that I'm pretty picky about when and where I wrestle. So you said like 3 people, 13 people. I think the least amount of people I've wrestled in front of is probably like 50 on like a showcase deal.
Okay.
But I'm very fortunate enough to say, and I'm not trying to say this in a braggadocious way, but the companies I work for are very selective. Like Phoenix Championship Wrestling, a small show for us is 600 people. A small show for us at the LRA is 400-500, you know, and that's on the independent scene unheard of. Rocky Mountain Pro, 600-700 people at the Beer Style Lager House downtown. That's reoccurring monthly. So it's easier to be in the moment, especially when people are chanting your name. That's the hardest.
Because you can feel the energy.
And you could actually genuinely feel it. Especially when they're saying your name, like it doesn't feel real sometimes. In the moment, it literally gives you like power. Like it's a hard feeling to explain, but it's caffeine. It's, you know, something.
It's the energy.
Pumps the blood in you 100%.
Yeah, because I mean, and I understand where you're coming from because like when we went to go see you at El Rey, it was like, I believe last year, I'll take my kids to go see you.
Awesome.
And people are like 2 scoops. And like, you can just feel it, bro. I was like, and my kids were just like chanting your name and they've never met you, bro. That was the first time they ever saw you.
Man, that's like my 3rd biggest compliment is that I could win someone over on first impression wrestling and then I like to help people and then the trainer. So thanks, man. That's
it was
awesome.
Crazy, bro. It was just, and I could just feel the energies. I can only imagine what you felt in there.
I had a championship match with the champion Saleh, not this last show, but the show before. And it was so incredibly loud when they did my entrance and they announced me to the point where I'm yelling as loud as I can to my opponent, like, do you hear that shit? Loud. And I can't even hear my own voice.
That's crazy.
And he goes, what? You know, like,
that's crazy.
Insane, you know, and the way the crowd eats the 2 scoops up, it's an organic gimmick too. I never thought I would be this guy.
How'd you come up with the name 2 Scoops? What made you do that? Was like 2 scoops of pre-workout that got you going, or what was it?
So that's pretty much what it is.
Oh, really?
It's evolved into that.
That's crazy.
It wasn't necessarily a planned thing. It was kind of given to me. So it's one of my favorite stories. So in Arizona, we have Slam U is our student showcase. So at that time, we were at the Endgame Bar in Mesa, Arizona on Wednesday or Thursday nights. Once a month, we would do free shows. And these shows were miserable for the fans. There was no chairs. They had water inside. And it was in a bar, but like an outside area. And you had to walk through the kitchen to get to it. And our locker room was upstairs. So we had to walk down Z stairs that were steep in the heat to get down to the ring. And then it's 100 degrees. And at night, it's still 96 degrees. And people are cheering at night. But they would get fun. They'd get rowdy. I think, you know, when the alcohol's there and stuff, people like have fun. And I was always a bad guy. And I was very young in this.
That's called the heel, right?
That's a heel, correct. And I was kind of new, and my wrestling name was Tommy Tess. And Tess was given to me by my trainer, Dom Vitale. And it was just because, you know, you go through the emotions and you learn how to wrestle first and foremost at that school. Like, and then they get to the point where like they're gonna start using you, like they start thinking of gear and ideas. Well, it was kind of a joke because I remember like I would train super hard, just like bring the intensity up, especially when that's a very demanding school. We're doing 500 air squats before you could even touch the ring every single day in the heat. Yeah, you know, after working a 9-hour shift, you know. So like I would take it upon myself to bring that energy. We're hitting the ropes. We're running for 1 minute, 90 seconds, 3 minutes of hitting the ropes back and forth. If you've ever done that, 10 seconds will blow you up. You know, 30 seconds is hard. And we're doing it for 3 minutes and we're doing rounds. We're not doing one round. We're doing rounds. You know, we're building our way up. So I would start hitting them as hard as I can. So Dom would be like, Tommy Tess, like, let's go. Because I would purposely go balls to the wall to the point where I throw up, you know. And then what's my reward? Do it again. you know? And that became my wrestling name because they're like, hey, we're going to use you for this. It was a battle royal first. Tommy Test, cool. So I ordered a pair of generic black and white trunks and I just put a logo. I had my buddy Ryan make me a logo, Tommy Test, and a hazard sign. And that was it. It was quick and simple and easy. So I did about 7, 8 matches as a singles wrestler and my battle royals and stuff. And then I got paired up in a tag team as a heel. So what happened was my partner had a concussion and Michael, my ex tag team partner, had a concussion, and we're feuding in Arizona right now. So, but they paired us together and we're complete opposites characters. Okay. Mine was toxic masculinity. It was anger, it was aggression. I was 21 years old, pissed off, and I liked to fight. That was kind of what Tommy Test was. Arrogant in a way, but also like had a lot to prove. Big chip on his shoulder, small town country boy that would not back down to anybody. And that was like organic kind of feeling. I was by nature kind of aggressive.
Yeah.
But like being a heel was fun, but kind of hard because I do like helping people. I like, yeah. And then being a heel is like, let me be mean to people. And sometimes like my heel work was just funny. And that was like a big compliment to me. And people were like, dude, like you're entertaining. Like, and then I started doing stuff that I thought was funny. So basically, I'm in a heel tag team and I'm still learning the ropes. I'm less than 10 matches in and I'm in a feud with this guy named Metanoia. And he was a legit raver. That was his wrestling gimmick, but also like he partied all the time every weekend. And then he would have a big group of fans of his friends that were like ravers. And they'd come to these endgame shows because it was like always like raves in the building and stuff. So this guy had a following and he was popular. And I was in a feud with him. And I remember I got out of my brother-in-law's truck and I told my wife, I said, hey, record this video for me. And it was one take and I was legitimately drinking my 2 scoops of protein after my workout because I just got off of work at the gym over there and I just worked out and I'm feeling big and I'm shaking my protein and it was one shot. And I said, hey, man, no, you're out there partying with the fans, having fun, while you're doing that, I'm locked in, drinking my 2 scoops, ready to go kick your ass, like see you tonight. And that was it. Posted it on Instagram, quick little reel, got a little bit of traction. And then I got to the venue and everyone's like, dude, 2 scoops, that's great. Like 2 scoops, we're hearing it for different people. Wow. And like, so something I said in that promo caught. So I'm a bad guy, right? So I'm in the ring and I'm in control and I pick him up and I give him 1 scoop slam, ask the crowd, boom, put him down. And then it just hit me. They're like, one more time, one. And the crowd loved the 2 scoops. So I picked him up for the second time. I looked at the crowd, you want one? Yeah, well, too bad you don't get him. So the first time I was 2 scoops, I didn't give him the 2 scoops. But that's how it evolved. Also, I did like amateur wrestling in high school. It was pretty successful. In that same match, I shot a double leg takedown, got up, said 2, and the crowd record back 2. So I was like, oh, now I have him where I want him. So that's kind of where it was a little bit born. Well, then I started playing with the idea. And my next match after that, or 2 matches after that, I'm in Long Beach, California for PCW Ultra. And if you know anything about pro wrestling independently, that at the time was one of the biggest independents in the United States.
Okay.
I went 7 times from Phoenix. We leave at 3, 4 in the morning. We drive to Long Beach, California. We'd get there to set up at 10:30. We set up these massive light structures around the ring. We'd set up the ring itself. We'd bring it in. We'd set up the guardrails. We set up, 500, 600 chairs. We set up the locker room, all the staging of us at the wrestling school. And we do it all for free,
Yeah.
And it's paying our dues. But I did that 7 times where I'd leave 3, 4 in the morning, set up all day, lifting, these heavy things, light trusses, the lights itself, these crates, these boxes. And it's a lot of work. And then the show would start around 8 o'clock, but they had meet and greets. So then we'd work the meet and greets and I did different jobs. I was my first time there. Jacob fought 2 now in the WWE, went viral for jumping off the cage with the moonsault and for the main event, and I got to watch that from the parking lot. I was parking lot security and I'm standing at the door and I got to watch that in person. I knew right there, like I would do anything to be in that ring. Like to feel that feeling, to be in this crowd. Like, this is where the best of the world wrestle. You know, it was a crazy main event. It was Sheik, former NWA champion, and Fatu versus Homicide from LAX and Eddie Kingston. Like, all guys that are signed today, you know, or in major positions today. And I was like, wow, like, there's levels to professional wrestling. Like, this is where the best do it. So I did it 7 other times where, you know, and these days were exhausting. So full day, full of labor, and then we had to tear everything down. So we're not getting out of there till like 2, 3 in the morning.
For free.
And then we're going straight back to Phoenix, 6 hours on the road, 7 hours on the road, because I work the next day, you know, like, so I'm pulling these 48-hour, you know, 35-hour days, you know, with little to no sleep for the love of the game.
Yeah.
And I still paid $80 on gas, and, you know, and I didn't get on the show. So the big payoff finally is paying my dues, and I go on the 7th time, and some of us get pre-show matches, and I still never got mine, but I never complained, never pouted. You know, whoever got it, good for you. Now I got to work harder. So finally my time came, and keep in mind, I've never been a good guy.
It's always been a heel.
Always been a heel, and I was comfortable with tag team wrestling. So the booker tells, you know, Dom, my training coach, like, hey, put together a couple pre-show matches with your guys. So we never know if there's going to be one pre-show match, 2 or 3, or any at all. So this whole time while we're setting up the ring, like, we're not on our phones, we're on our P's and Q's, we're not messing around, because they're watching.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you think they're just there, like, on their phones? No, they're marking down, like, who's working hard, who wants to be here, you know?
Putting in the work, yeah.
And so when I got there and did the whole thing the whole day, you know, expecting nothing but giving everything. And he pulls me aside and says, hey, you got gear? And I was like, yeah, actually, I just got this brand new singlet, never worn, but I'm playing with the 2-scoop stuff. All it says is Tommy Test in the front, 2 scoops in back. It's very plain, generic. He's like, okay, well, 5 minutes, you're the opening match. I'm going to cuss really quick. So he said, don't fuck up. Oh, shit. So 5 minutes, you're the good guy. Opening match, like, you set the tone for this.
So
like,
that was your first match ever being the good guy?
Yes.
Wow.
And in front of 700 people. And so this is how the whole name became a deal. It's a long story. It's one of my favorite stories. But yeah, so it's kind of intense. And then I get in the ring, and the crowd kind of warms up to me.
Yeah.
And we did a really good job of establishing good guy and bad guy. And I'm wrestling a guy from California. A couple people know, Red Williams. But people don't know who I am. Some of them recognize me from, like, oh, that was the ticket guy last time, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy was the security guard last time. And I could hear kind of that stuff in the crowd. While we lock up, and we're all just filling out the crowd, and the he shoots me off, goes for a skull tackle. I don't go. I just go 2 scoops, and the crowd echoes it back. 2 scoops. Oh, crap. I feel it. Boom. It is like, whatever happens, boom, boom, boom. I give him the shoulder tackle. Boom. 2 scoops. Crowd 2 scoops louder. To the point where, you know, I'm getting beat up, and I didn't even think about doing this, but it's subconsciously, like, me getting in the moment. Mm-hmm. I'd kick out at 2. So I do the 2 scoops. And over there, they're a very smart crowd. They love wrestling. There's different crowds everywhere, right?
But they kind of pick up to what you're doing.
And if they see a hole in your game, they're calling you out. They know a lot about wrestling, and they will eat you up or raise you to the, you know, bring you to the moon. So they're my favorite crowd by far to wrestle in front of, and I miss Ultra so much. But the 2 sweet, you hear that like on TV every 2 count. Mm-hmm. So for the rest of the night, keep in mind I'm opening match of the pre-show, but for the remainder of the night, all the way to the main event, which is Jacob Fatu versus Psycho Clown, for every single 2 count, it was 2 scoops rather than 2 sweet.
That's awesome.
During the entirety of the show, we want 2 scoops, and it just felt unreal. And I remember I'm sitting in the back and a couple of, like, different wrestlers, and I'm just like, do I belong here? Like, I'm in the same locker room with this guy, and like,
yeah,
you know, I'm trying to, like, be cool, but also they just had this crazy magical experience, and, you know,
is that when you were like, I love this? This
one of the big moments,
this
yeah,
is where I gotta be.
100%, 120%, because I remember being in the crowd saying, I'm gonna do that from right there at Ultra, and I showed up 6 other times without even getting looked at, Or maybe I was. Maybe I just wasn't ready.
Maybe they were taking notes.
And I really wasn't even ready when it was happening. But when you're in that situation, like, you step up or get stepped over. Like,
yeah, I'm a very big believer in you have to take every opportunity given. Because imagine if you wouldn't have taken it.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who didn't go to that. Hey, I went 3 times and I didn't get and they start getting complacent.
So how does that work? Like, you don't just sign up and get to roll or get to wrestle. Like, do they know? Like, do they choose who's going to be the heel for every show? Do you choose? Does your manager choose? How does that work?
You know, in no case is the same. Certain promoters will write a show and they'll have certain ideas for certain people. And then they'll tell you what to do and they'll pay you to do it. And that's the biggest compliment you could get in our business is someone paying you to do your thing. Whether it's $20, $200, $500, that is a compliment. Yeah. For having them on your show, for being able to be on your show. So depends. Sometimes, like, if I have a character specific package and this character is a good guy, babyface, well, that's how I'll portray myself to the promoter and that's how they'll see me. In that case, I'm a pre-show. They don't know who I am. They don't care who I am. This is my 5 minutes to, and I'm going to say it again, quote unquote, don't fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, they want to see, like, am I wasting their time? Am I wasting my time? What do I have to offer? So it could have been either way. Okay, you're the bad guy. You're the heel. So it was like a test for me. Like, okay, not only you're not being a tag wrestler, but you're also not a bad guy. So you're doing 2 firsts. And it's all about the crowd naturally, because sometimes the crowd won't like you and sometimes they'll love you.
Well, here in Albuquerque, I know they love you, bro.
And
like, you can tell they just love your energy. You know?
It's crazy because I used to wrestle in Albuquerque before I even lived here. I lived in Arizona. So it was a big deal to come down, and I would fly down or I'd drive down and I would see all my friends from high school and my family. And I'd spend a weekend out here, and it was like, oh, and then I got to go back to reality in Arizona. But then it started growing and building, and like now I can't go to the mall. I tried going to Coronado Mall, like in the parking lot, 2 scoops. Like once I walk out, and you know,
how does that make you feel? Like when like at the gym, I'm sure people know who you are
every day.
Like, how does it feel? Like you said, going to the mall, like when people recognize. How does that make you feel?
It didn't feel real the first couple of times. I remember, the first couple times I've been recognized in public. I was in Arizona actually, and I just got out of a movie. And it was the middle of the day, and it was hot, and it was bright. Again, the sun. You know, yeah. I can't express that enough. How brutal and awful the Arizona sun is. That's why I moved back.
Rough. It's rough.
So like I walk out, and it's like hot, and I just hear 2 scoops screamed at me like, "Dude, I follow you on Instagram. Like, we wanted to go to the show last night, but you know we're caught up. Like, sell me tickets to your next show. We'll be there." And I'm like, I just saw last night. Like, okay, cool. And sure enough, you know, like, followed them on Instagram, hooked them up with some T-shirts. All of a sudden, next thing you know, like, they're bringing friends, and boom, boom, boom. Now they're at every show. So that was like, holy crap. And, you know, the girl I was watching the movie with, she was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Promise you that never happens." And then it started growing. But now it's honestly like the coolest feeling on earth, especially like, "Hey, can I take a picture with you?" Dude, yeah. I mean, because I remember like meeting my wrestlers for the first time. Like, oh, this is insane. And to be that guy for someone's first impression, like your kids, for a perfect example. Like, and imagine like now when they see me, like a while ago, it's like, what? You're here? You know? So that means everything to me. There's a couple times where like, I'm not saying I don't like it because I love it. I really do. And I wish people would talk to me more, but it's like when I'm in a rush, I hate being late for stuff.
Yeah. I feel you.
Especially in the gym, if I'm in the groove, and then like if someone asks me for a picture in the gym, it's never no. It's yes, absolutely, yeah. Matter of fact, I have a pump on. Let's go. But like sometimes like I'm trying to work out, and people are like, "When's your next match? When's your next show?" And I'm like telling them about it, and I get passionate about it. Then I start talking too much, and then 20 minutes pass by. I'm like, okay, now I have to text me. We can do this somewhere else, you know. But it's the most awesome thing ever.
So at the beginning of this podcast, you said that you started in the backyard with your friends, right?
Locker rooms, backyards, everywhere, you know.
And what drew you? Was it WWE, WWF? I mean, it was WWF.
Yes, originally everything. So growing up on a ranch, grew up on a farm, chicken farm. We didn't have Wi-Fi until I was 18 years old.
Wow.
We had HughesNet, which HughesNet does, if they even exist, I don't think they exist anymore. But if they're listening, this lets you know I hate you. Satellite internet. It was super expensive and it never worked. We're like at a gig plan, so like we literally could not watch a video. Like it was just good enough to like
Send an email.
that's it. And it wasn't until we had fiber optic actually come through the valley to get us like actual good internet. And then we're like, oh, we're paying like less than half than we were paying. And it actually works compared to paying a lot more. Anyway, that's my beef with HughesNet. But that being said, I didn't have internet, so I would watch VHS tapes or DVDs of wrestling, and I would collect them. So like that's all I ever wanted to do. So every time we go to a flea market, I come to Albuquerque, big city compared to Rivera, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And I go and I buy wrestling DVDs and VHS tapes and magazines and toys, and like it was here, and I used to love that. Or even Las Vegas, So then like I would start collecting. But my grandfather that I spoke about, he actually recorded a couple few things he did before he passed away. Is he recorded a couple of wrestlings on VHS. So
wow.
I grew up watching those in my bedroom. Fall Brawl 95, favorite view of all time. And he recorded it. So growing up, like cleaning my room, watching that. Goldberg, Who's Next, had that VHS. ECW, One Night Stand, The Rise and Fall of ECW, 2-box combo VHS. So I'd watch that.
Bro, ECW was crazy.
It's insane.
And I remember I was a big WWF fan.
Yeah.
So back in the day, my parents were from Mexico. They didn't speak English. So we didn't have cable. They were barely making it by. So I remember there was this video store like down the street from me. So every Friday after school, my parents would take me and I would go buy or rent like 3 videos. And it would always be like SummerSlam or WrestleMania, or it would be Royal Rumble, like on VHS, right? Mm-hmm. So I would go and get them and rent them. And all day Friday, all day Saturday, I would stay up all night just killing these videos, just watching them over and over. My favorite guy was Undertaker, Kane, The Rock, and Mankind. Those were like my favorite guys. So I remember like the first match I ever saw that kind of got me hooked to WWF was Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell, when he threw him off the top.
Yep.
I was like, this is crazy. And
what a perfect introduction,
bro. It was crazy, huh? Like it was like for that being my first thing, it was crazy. But what sucked about the whole internet part is that my parents didn't have money for cable. So at the time, Raw would play on USA every Monday. We didn't have cable, so I was always behind. So I would go to school Monday and talk about like, hey, I just saw WrestleMania. Like, dude, that's like 6 months old, like last year. I didn't know that, but that's all I could watch, and that's kind of what I lived off of.
That's awesome.
And
same here a little bit.
And of course, we go to the backyard with my cousins, and we just wrestle on the grass and pretend we were the Hardy Boys, or Edge and Christian.
Especially as a kid, we're playing on the trampoline. I only ever wanted to play wrestlers. But also like 2 older brothers. They're my best friends. But if there was ever, and I'm looking back, I wasn't picked. I terrorized them, I think, If there was ever a move I needed to take, I'd take it, and they'd beat me up. But also, like, I initiated all of those fights, let's wrestle, jump in on him, jumping off the couch and, onto each other. And my poor mom, all guys in the house and holes in the wall. So one of my main goals with wrestling is to, at this point, just buy her a whole new house, because my brothers and I, we destroyed her house now. So, that's one of my main goals in life, especially in wrestling, is to take care of my parents. They did everything for me to chase my dreams, like everything. They're the most supportive. And I think that it's going to be the best day ever when I could finally give back to them fully. Mm-hmm. I do as much as I can to give back to them, and I shout them out, and they're so supportive, But the day I could buy my dad his GMC, and,
that's when you made it.
That's like one of my main driving goals. When it gets hard, it's like, all right, well, my mom just retired and she's gonna need something to do. So I got to do it for her. But yeah, that's one of my main driving factors is them, for sure.
And that's what kind of keeps you going.
A lot of it, I'm so blessed to give up. I've faced so much adversity, and I'm not saying, oh, poor me, but like, I should have, could have, would have quit a long time ago, but that's never been an option. Never been an option. Even like, I was blessed enough last Wednesday to talk back to my high school track team. My dad's on his 30th year coaching high school. He's doing track right now.
Okay.
He's on football, basketball, everything, track. And he's retiring. He's calling it quits. And I can tell he's sad. He doesn't want to, but my mom's kind of like, hey, I'm retired now too. Like,
you got to do it too.
Yeah, but it's also like football wives. They are the strongest people because they don't see their spouses, and it's football consumes them from summer to winter. That's a long season. Yeah. And, it's, so I get it. Like, I don't blame her, not seeing my dad, her spouse for that, So
he's been coaching for 30 years football as well?
Yep.
So he's done like 6-7 months out of the year, essentially. Like he's like
more than
dedicated.
that.
Yeah, he's dedicated.
Because summer ball and spring ball and, different sports, track feeds into that. And then he's coached pretty much everyone in the Valley because we had a little middle school, the Valley Elementary Middle School. Shout out the Roadrunners.
Yeah, let's give him a shout out real quick, bro.
There we go. But my mom actually was the principal there, and she retired 2 years ago. So now she gets to be home and, have my dad a little bit more. So good for them, and I think now they're at the stage of their life where the most exciting thing for my mom is to get out of the house. So what better way than go to the El Rey Theater, watch me wrestle live. So,
so when's your next event?
So my next one is going to be now in May the 2nd, I believe, at the El Rey that Saturday. Booked every single weekend. I had to cancel my booking this weekend because I am working on my vehicles. They all have the engine lights. One's not running, and the other two need to be worked on. It's crazy how I went from 3 vehicles to 0 in 1 month.
It's rough when it rains. It pours, huh?
And in a lot of ways, yeah. And it kicked my butt for about 10, 15 days. Like, I don't want to say depression, but definitely a hole. And I don't know. And so anyway, I took this past couple weekends. I canceled a couple bookings. I've never been this guy, but I kind of needed to mentally, I think, as well. Also, not just feel sorry for myself, but these allergies in Albuquerque, I'm still new to the area.
Rough.
Dude,
rough.
They've been kicking my butt the last 2 weeks, man. So just physically giving myself a little bit of break because I'm booked every single weekend, May through June. And they're all like hardcore matches, last man standing matches, feuds.
So let's
in
talk
Arizona.
about that. Like, we all know how wrestling is. Like, like,
it's hard.
It's hard. It's rough. It's entertaining. But obviously, people think that it's fake.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of like theatrics in it.
Mm-hmm.
However, those chairs, they're not fake chairs.
Nope.
Those kendo sticks, it's still sticks. You getting chokeslammed or through a table, it's still a real thing. Like, your 100%. Body endures a lot of adversity, like a lot of pain.
They're all real stuff, like the trash cans, those are real still, like those are fun because they're loud, but they hurt a lot,
I'm sure.
No, everything hurts a lot. And I'll say adrenaline is very addicting because in the moment it'll hurt for like 1-2 seconds max. Ow, boom, that hurt.
So like taking a chair to the back, how does that feel?
Like death for about 2 seconds, and then adrenaline kicks in and it's giving me another one.
So in wrestling, I know, like, do you guys like practice before an event, or you kind of just wing it for the most part?
It depends. If you know somebody, you have good chemistry with somebody, go out there and rock and roll. This last Duke City show, I wrestled Enrique Calderon, who is a guy that's from my wrestling school in Arizona. So I've wrestled him a couple times, but also we have the same trainer. So he wrestled the match before. My opponent was unable to compete. He was having some health complications, and we didn't know if he was going to wrestle until like 45 minutes until the show started for my match. So I just wrestled that guy all on the fly. Boom, in the ring.
So how does that work out? How do you sync it up?
Pro, It's a hard skill. In my wrestling school in Arizona, they won't graduate you, won't let you go on your own unless you could do 5 on the fly. And if you can't work 5 on the fly, you probably shouldn't be in the ring, in my opinion. But there's only one way to know if you could do it is by doing it.
Right? And explain what that is. 5 on the fly. What's that? Like you get 5 minutes to
freestyle.
Wow. Okay.
You know, like we're not going to talk about it. We'll communicate. We'll be safe with each other, but I gotta trust you.
And that's hard, huh? Building that trust with like another opponent, especially like when you're as much as you travel.
So
like
yeah,
wrestling. I mean, is there guys that you don't want to go against because
for sure
you know how they are?
Not necessarily. I wrestle with anybody. I'm very picky about who and when and where I wrestle. So there's never been in a situation I know I'm not wrestling them. I never had that. No, but like there are students from my wrestling school in Arizona that like I just won't do this drill with them. Like my jaw clicks still from a wrong clothesline. It wasn't intentional, but that person just brings it.
Yeah.
You know, I've had my shoulder dislocated in training. Tore my AC joint up. Had to go to the emergency room in training. And so now I just won't do that drill with that person anymore. Nothing against that person. That person awesome and great. But like they were still newer at that time too. And I was wrestling a little bit more. Not that like you have to treat every session as your like first day. You have to absorb it. You have to get better day by day. And that's honestly one of the hardest parts. But like I'm just smart about like what moves I take. So if you watch me wrestle, like it's a lot of character and it's very entertaining. I get that like the high energy, but I reserve the crazy moves for the big shows. So if I'm on a pay-per-view or a payoff or like a hardcore match, yeah, you're going to see me do the attitude adjustment on top of 6 chairs and you know the tables and all that. I love that stuff. You know, it's my favorite. But like I do spine busters and atomic drops, and my finisher is a discus lariat clothesline. My 2 biggest moves are 2 scoop slams. So those are all basic moves, and those are all moves that you should be able to take like back of your hand. Like it's at this point, those are all basic maneuvers, and you should know how to give them and take them without even thinking about it. Subconsciously, do them in your sleep, do them in your eyes closed. So like, I feel like I could wrestle with anybody in the world with my moveset because I position them in a way so it's like entertaining.
Yeah.
But like I could do it to anybody and anybody could take it safely. Anybody. I have good matches with 170 pounders and I have great matches with 500 pounders. So like, and everything in between, you know? So that's a cool thing about my wrestling character is if I have a light guy, I'm spinning him in the air when I scoop slam him. But if I have a big guy, I've never had someone I can't pick up. So, you know.
So how do you come up with like your finishing move? How does that come up?
There's different ways. Like I said, my journey's my own. So like not my journey would be like anyone else's. But for me specifically, there's a move that I really like. And I've asked for permission to do it twice, and my trainer's like, not yet. Like, I just don't trust you with it. Like, you're too young. But also I get it. Like it's the white noise. Sheamus does it. Hook the outside leg, the head, and run. Boom. I remember seeing Mike Modest do it in WCW out of nowhere on Chavo Guerrero. Oh, I love this move. Chavo, yeah. Last night I was watching NWA Power. Shout out Pretty City Express. They absolutely destroyed it last night. But the match before was Slade, championship contender, you know, just like a Kurt Angle. Love this guy. Following him on Instagram. Love his career. He's actually tag partners with Mike Mondo, who Mike Mondo is going to be in the main event at the next Duke City show, November
so
May 2nd. Yeah.
May 2nd.
May 2nd.
El Rey Theater.
So he's coming down to wrestle Hobo Hank in the main event, champion versus champion, or Hobo's not champion, but NWA champ is coming down. Anyways, they're tag partners. He did it last night for his finish. Loved it. That was my idea. When it came down to it, it's like, well, when I'm wrestling these 350-pound Samoans, can I put them in my backpack? You know, maybe it's safe. You know, well, what's a move I could do to everybody? Well, I hit a couple good discus lariats by just practicing getting my footwork right, and I would just full throttle start swinging them. So I've hit a couple good ones, but it's gone to a point, and I'm not going to call anyone out specifically, where people don't want to take it, and they'll tell me before the match, dude, don't hit me too hard. Like, I seen your videos, like, take care of me, don't kill me. And then I have people that are like, lay me out, and those are, I love those ones. Shout out those people. But then I also have people that will shy away from taking it, and I'm like, dude, I promise you, the more you feed into it, the safer you're landing in the, if you just eat it, it's not going to hurt as bad. But if you back out from it, you have send from it, like you're going to hurt yourself or even hurt me. Like, and I get that a lot. I wrestled the show here in Albuquerque for a different company. And I'm finishing move, I'm leading up to it. And the guy just doesn't want to take it. So he just doesn't get it. He's like, no, I'm not taking that. Pin me. I'm like, I get it. But
so let me ask you this. So how do you decide who gets, like, who wins and who loses? How does that work?
It's written out.
Oh, it's written out? Okay.
I mean, there's different situations, but like, it's like anything else you watch.
So the promoter write it off for you. Here's the story. Here's the plot.
Sometimes promoter has a promoting team. There's bookers, there's promoters, there's producers. Every company is different. I've worked with smaller companies where it's a one-man show, a two-man show. I've worked for bigger companies where there's people in positions and you have people specifically to get you through a match to their vision. But I mean, a good company will like have a game plan and like, hey, like, I want to use as a reoccurring character in my story. So you're going to do 5-6 shows leading up to one thing. And a good company does that. It depends where you're at, too, because sometimes they do like a one-off show. Like at Rialto Theater, big in Tucson, Rockstar Wrestling. I love that company. They do crazy big shows. They always sell out on Congress Street. But those are just party shows,
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I just got hit up to do a show now in June or in May. But those are fantastic shows. But like people there, they're there to see live music and they're to see to have Lucha Libre, then have a good time. They don't necessarily care. Like, yeah, we have championship pictures and stuff, but like anytime I go out there, it's 2 scoops. They love it. They eat it up. I sell a lot of merchandise and I have a fantastic time without that pressure of I have to remember this like storyline, so it's kind of nice both. And those are quick and easy. Most times they don't really care. Like,
so, I mean, I love how you said like what we were just saying now, but what made me think about what you just said is like American wrestling and Mexican wrestling. Yeah. It's 2 different things.
So crazy, so different. And they complement each other well, though.
Lucha Libre? Yeah. And it's more, I'm not saying American wrestling is boring because it's not. I'm just saying it's a different type of wrestling. Like
100%.
Lucha Libre is wild, bro. It's like,
to go ahead and say it, I will say this as well. I think Lucha Libre is so much more entertaining as a show.
It is very entertaining. Like, I mean, look at it now at WWE, right? Penta.
Yep.
He's bringing all these Mexican wrestlers and it's entertaining. Look at Eddie Guerrero. Look at Chavo Guerrero. Look at Rey Mysterio. Like, once you incorporate these guys, it creates a different dynamic, a different type of promotion.
Yes. And right now they're red hot.
They are.
With
like
AAA.
Yeah.
Psycho Clown was in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and he got a crazy reaction, ripped his mask off. And, it was crazy. I was reflecting, watching WrestleMania and like, I'm not trying to write off any coattails and I'm not necessarily like, shout out, this guy's my friend, but it was so rewarding to see. Like last year, I was on shows with Psycho Clown for Independence, for DCW, and wrestling for 30, 40 people in a Mania week.
And then to see him on there.
And then to see him on that's awesome. Stuff like that. And that's just one guy. Like before Jacob Fatu got signed, I've mentioned him a couple of times, but like, he texted me for Christmas, Merry Christmas, tell the family hi, oh shoot, but I have a cool relationship with him, but like I was on the last 3 shows with him before he got signed. We're in Long Beach, Arizona, everywhere, and then Duke City, and then like boom, yeah, I saw on the internet, and like he was such an inspiration because he was still early, last one to leave, and he's still dapping up everybody. He's saying hi and bye,
so he doesn't forget where he came from.
Not at all,
which
dude.
Is awesome to see because I think that's what continues to like drive people's career. At the end of the day, you have to remember it's the people who are driving whatever promotion you're in. It's the people. Like even with my brand, like it's not me, it's not the shows, it's the people behind us that kind of push that car up the hill. You know what I mean?
At the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center, I know I'm talking about them a lot, but I can't say enough good things about them. They are a big believer on you're not only as strong as your weakest link, right? Everyone is held to a certain standard. For example, there's 7 things you can't control, and I have it saved on my phone, and I don't remember all of them off the top of my head right this second, but it's like be on time, be early, like extra, you can stay late. Like those are things you can't control outside of talent, right? And they hold everyone to a standard. Like, I'll be honest, our PCW days, yeah, it's the biggest independent show in Arizona, and they're very rewarding, and they're my favorite place to wrestle as far as like homegrown. We've built that company from a rebirth show right after 2020. Everything shut down pandemic, and we students built that show to a powerhouse right now, getting global traction to the point where one of our main featured girls just got signed to MLW. Pretty City Express built themselves up. They were just on NWA Power last night. You know, I was able to be on TNA, like,
Yeah.
and it was from 2021. And then each day by day by day, you know, by show by show by week, we've got to this level, and like we're still nowhere near to where we want to be.
Right.
But like, hey, we're making profit on the shows now. Like,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Not that it's like a big thing, but like we've together did it, but it wasn't like by luck. It was by structure. It was by game plan. It was by hard training. You know, a day in the life training in Arizona was so much different than training out here. I mean, in the best possible way. There are awesome places to wrestle out here. I can think about 3 or 4 different schools to train at here, wrestling wise.
So you have what over there, American or Legion Iron.
Yep, that's Prime.
Where's the other one? Oh, that's Prime.
So that's where I train at myself with Luis Chias, Guzman, and Danny G. Phenomenal. I mean this by the
Danny G's good too, bro.
Wrestling wise, he's one of the best. Person wise, there's not much better than him. He's a good dude.
Genuine.
He's very genuine.
But a genuine dude.
You know what? And he wins all these awards in his tattoos, and like he has a story. And I want to get him for one more match. Danny G, I'm gonna shout you out. I need to wrestle you one time, at least one time. But he's OG. I respect him. And then he's friends with my coaches in Arizona. They know each other. They've done him shows before. And then the man behind it all, Luis Chias Guzman. It's his ring, and he's a good dad. He has kids. You know, he has boys as well, just like me and my dad. And he reminds me a lot of my dad. But he's fearless, man. He's a leader, and he's the New Mexico version of Gallo, one of my trainers in Arizona. Okay. Can't say enough good things about that school, but the intensity is different because the structure, I think, is just over here. I'm not going to say it's lax because they work hard. They really do. They're doing their squats, but they teach a hybrid lucha libre, you know, strong style, American style, which all love and respect for. I train traditional, so my lineage is completely different. But I will say, you asked what they have. There's OTR. Gino Rivera has his.
Where's that one at?
It's in his backyard.
Okay.
I've been there a couple times. He has an awesome setup, and he does have a good group of guys. And you know, he builds them up the right way, and he teaches them the fundamentals. And that's a hardworking camp. Nothing but respect to those guys, and I've worked with them before. Antoine Giovanni Topro Tony, one of my best friends, bitter enemies. He trains over there.
Okay.
And he has nothing but good things to say. And then there's the Thungeon, which just opened up most recently. That is going to be Thunder from Duke City. That's the actual Duke City NWA New Mexico Wrestling School.
Okay.
So it's rather new. They have the 6-sided ring in there, and they're growing. They have about 10 strong now students. So that's pretty good over here, especially if we have places to be filled. You know, it's very competitive, and
it is.
And especially that school, Thunder, has a very productive camp. I've been fortunate enough to be a guest a couple of times there, and they have some really good drills and the good structure as well. I think with them, my biggest advice to them, because they have everything right in front of them, is just keep growing, because they're so new and they're doing so much at a, you know, and they're not there's beef or anything, but like I imagine if we all worked together, all 3 of those schools,
that'd be crazy, bro.
We would be a powerhouse. We would compete with these Arizona Sports and Training Centers. That's a powerhouse, independent, you know, wrestling facility. That being said, like, we're all in different, you know, we have the same path but different goals, which that's good because then we have competition, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm missing an OTR guy, or I'm missing a Thungeon guys. Like, my Prime guys could wrestle those guys, and so we do have like a little bit of competition.
Do you guys cross train a lot?
We have before. I wouldn't say a lot, but like we don't have a problem with doing it. We have a couple guys that do both, like Sancho Martinez. He's been getting a couple of his Duke City shows. I'll shout him out. He works real hard at his craft. he has a long way to go to get to but he's doing the right things. He's not doing anything like wrong, but like he's on the right path, and you could tell he has the right head frame. But he does like Dungeon and Prime, so he's training 5-6 days a week, and he has a personal trainer, so he's working on his body, and he's a musician, and he's traveling, and he does like a lot of little things, and like that's the grind, dude. Like,
Yeah.
my days, I'll be honest, like they start at 4:45, 4:30, get to work by 5, and I don't get home till 9:30, 10.
Yeah, that's rough. Long days, man.
And then by the time I shower and make food and eat, and my adrenaline comes down from wrestling, I don't get to bed till like midnight if I'm lucky. And then boom, 4:30, there's the alarm. Get to work at 5. But like that's nothing new to me. Especially in Arizona, man, those were hard training. Same idea, work from 6 to 2, and then work out for 2 hours, and then after that, straight to wrestling school, and then that was 3 times a week, and it's a grind, man.
So how did it feel when you got? Because I mean, we saw you at Tingley for TNA.
Man,
How'd you feel with that one? Did they call you up or they email you? What they do?
both, yes. So the way that actually transpired was I saw that they were coming to Albuquerque, and we just had AEW, and we just had Monday Night Raw, big turnouts, and I was like, oh, we had GCW come through. Like, we have an athletic commission, and to be honest, they strangle the life out of any independent because they want to, be a tick and blood suck the big companies.
Yeah, of course.
So it is nearly impossible. Like DWO is a perfect example. Destiny Wrestling was selling out arenas and still losing money.
Yeah.
Like the commission was strangling them. So now that we have these promotions in town, it's a blessing to wrestle in New Mexico. I can't stress that enough. Like that, I travel a lot, but like there's the weekends where I don't have to travel and I could get to the venue in 10 minutes and sleep in my own bed. Like, shout out Phase 1 Pro, shout out OTR, shout out Duke City Championship Wrestling. Thank you for allowing me to be on all your shows because like those are blessing days. And then I get to wrestle in front of my favorite people.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the biggest thing too is like, overall, it's how bad, like, I'm not going to say like how much shit can you take to the face, but it's like, how much can you juggle, right? Like, there's only limited spots, and if the commission's already taking stuff away from there, to get on this TNA show, I'm not competing against the other 4 schools in state, but I'm competing against Texas, Colorado, all the other scenes, like. But anyways, the way it all transpired was Tommy Dreamer, who had just taken over around that time the like head of creative kind of position for TNA, and he's one of my all-time favorites. And I always say on every podcast I've ever done, like Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, Tommy Dreamer, those are my favorites. And so I'm in a locker room. I've done a couple of shows with them, and he's the most genuine guy, and he's remembered every single conversation we've ever had since I was 18 years old, and he remembered me. And like he brings him up, and like so. Anyway, I'm in the Duke City. I mean the Devotion Championship Wrestling in Salt Lake City, and he's the main event against Manny Lemons. And I had talked to him in Mania in Vegas last year, and he remembered that conversation. And it was John Cena's retirement match actually, and I'm watching it on my phone, and he's watching it behind me a little bit, and he's I can't wait to watch that later. And I'm like, oh, awesome, like. Oh shit! I watched John Cena's match with Tommy Dreamer that night a little bit, but and I just asked like, hey, I know you're busy and everything, but if you have time, like, I just got this new gear because you complimented my gear before, and I was like, I would love if you would give me a little bit of feedback if you have time to watch my match. So it would mean the world to me. Like you're one of my favorite wrestlers. Like you already know. He's like, yeah, for sure. He's like, yeah, I saw some of you. You did a lot of good stuff. Like, you look good. Like I'll be honest with you. Like there's a couple. I'll tell you where you can improve. And he told me a couple pointers and. He's like, but I mean, the world, you have a ton of potential. You have charisma. You're over. The crowd loved you. He's like, you're doing all the right things. Just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, that means a lot coming from you.
Yeah.
But I hear that from everyone. Keep doing what you're doing. So it's like, so what does that mean?
So sometimes you're like, is that what people just say? Like, you know what I mean?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so at the end of the night, it was awesome. And we're chatting, and I'm taking my boots off next to him, and we're in the locker room, and I just mentioned to him, like, hey, Tommy, by the way, like, I know you guys are coming to Albuquerque, and I just moved out here, and I'm one of the few guys that wrestles on every promotion in town. But we do have a state commission, just to keep you aware. So you're gonna have to deal with blood work and physicals, and you're gonna deal with licenses and all like event coordinators. And he's like, oh, that's a good thing. I didn't know that, but thank you for letting me know. Like, yeah, dude, like if you need anything, let me know. Like also, like I live 12 minutes from the venue, so like I would love to help you guys out anyway. And he's like, okay, yeah, please do. I'll send the information your way. Sure enough, man of his word, I got the email the next day. Like, oh. So just by communicating with them all day, building a rapport.
Yeah.
Like if I would have went up to him and be like, hey bro, let me get, like, how do I get on your show? Like, fuck off. Like
everyone's always asking that.
And that's where a lot of people are. But like I kind of tried my best to build a rapport with him 2-3 conversations before I even asked him. But it wasn't like me asking for like a spot. It was me genuinely asking for feedback and then giving him heads up. Like at that point, like we've had a couple of conversations. Hey, you're going to be in my city. Wrestling never comes here. Let me help you any way I can. And so I planted the seed there, and then we actually did. Nick Nemeth came down with a couple executives for TNA, and I got to meet them all, and I got to help out with them, and I got to do a Q&A. Mm-hmm. And then honestly, everyone was just, unless we're putting me over with the people that mean stuff, but like the champion. Fred, Hobo, everyone that was anyone was just telling the team people, this is our guy. Like, this is the guy. Like, so I already had the reputation with Dreamer and then these guys. And like, and they pulled me and Tony aside and said, dude, eye test. You guys are the only two guys we would honestly be interested in. I'm like, oh, well, thanks. That means a lot. If I like, still the uncertainty of like, I'm competing against so many other people. I keep hitting this. But it was awesome because then I get a, meet them outside of them, like, oh well, I met this person, so I met 3 of the main guys. So I sent the email in and like, hey, here's my resume, updated pictures, everything, and there's a full resume I sent, and they got back to me quick. 20 minutes later, fill this out. You need this, and this. Got you. Boom, boom, boom.
So for like promotions like TNA, mm-hmm. you have to do like blood work and all that too.
Everything, just like the commission, within 6 months. And those are $99 for the cheap place.
Right, but what do they look for though? Like
fighting pellet. So same thing for MMA, boxing, HIV and stuff.
Okay,
and,
gotcha.
Yeah. There's different things, different regulations, but
that's crazy. I mean, which is good. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
But that is crazy though.
And it keeps me on myself because as a personal trainer, I'm always kind of, very looking out for the newest, peptides are a big thing. And I've never done peptides. I'm very interested in them. All natural. But basically, like, there's a lot of different, like, even supplements games has changed so much since like 2020. Like protein went from chalk to like delicious within the past 5 years.
So good now.
Yeah, like
so good.
I remember in high school, like trying to down the strawberry, muscle milk, and that was awful. And like now I'm eating like these Quest chips and like they're addicting and like, so I think for me, like it keeps me to doing my blood work.
Yeah.
Which I've actually learned a lot. And now I'm focusing on different, like I had very high cortisol. Well, yeah, I've been running on, on worst case scenario on like survivor mode for the past 6 years. Oh, there's things I could do for it,
which is good to have,
It's amazing.
Always good. That it's always good to see. Like, I mean, because I do my blood work. I go to Men's Health, and they're great people, bro.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I wish more people would do it. I tell my clients like when they're always like, "Hey, I want to hop on this peptide." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you yes or no, but before you do, get your blood work done. Speak to a doctor about it, because there's so many things.
And the thing that people don't understand, because I do peptides, but a lot of people don't understand that, like, everyone's body anatomy is way different. So just because a certain dosage or a certain peptide I'm taking, it may not work for you or vice versa. And that's what people need to understand. They need to do the research. Like they're not going to get the same result as someone else, or they might even get a better result than the next person.
Absolutely.
And that's what people need to do. Like don't just trust TikTok. Don't just trust YouTube. Don't just trust Joe Rogan. Like, go like do your research, get
Absolutely.
your blood work. You know, everyone's body's way different, and the last thing you want to do is be in a worse situation.
I love that.
You
And I'm constantly telling people that that's my beef with like social media is like, especially in the fitness industry, since like 2019, 2020, when I started paying more attention to it, but also like exercise has become popular. Like the Sam Soliks, the Trend Twins, like they're YouTubers and influencers, and like,
Yep.
all respect to them, but like people that don't know anything about it just because they watch them think they're experts. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but like they're not right about some stuff.
You know who I'm still a fan of him? Rich Piana.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though he died,
And like
I still watch his videos.
I was gonna say, if I ever need like a client's asking, boom, pull up, you know,
because he was raw. He told you what he did. He told, hey, I'm not telling you to do this, but this is what I'm doing. You know, like
Exactly.
bigger by the day. Like, bro, that's just crazy. And it's funny because I still watch him to this day.
Absolutely.
And he was ahead of his time,
dude.
He was so ahead of his time. And it's tragic that he passed away the way he did. But I feel like a lot of social media now, people just people don't really see like the outcomes of it. Like people think that you can just cheat it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing, like you're given as a personal trainer or give people the roadmap, but you still have to have the car. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I will kick your butt in this gym and you will be sore until next week when I see you again. But if you're not recovering right, if you're not eating right, if you're not getting your daily macros in, if you're not eating your protein, if you're still eating that Whataburger 2 times a week, you know, like you're gonna drive your own car. All my clients are making progress, so I'm not crapping at anybody, but like, you know, that's the hardest part is you got to beat the mind game first. Even for myself, like I was in that mental hole I was speaking about earlier, and like my workouts weren't slapping. But I told myself, hey, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You know, this Saturday and Sunday and Monday and now today, I had a rest day yesterday. I just did cardio. I got really good workouts in, and I feel my mojo coming back, momentum building. You know, and I think I did a little reset. But like, people, you got to be. I think people are too hard on themselves, and I'm very much a victim of that. And sometimes it's okay to take it easy on yourself. It's your first time living.
Yeah.
And I've learned that recently. And watching your podcast, I'll be honest, couple things I would like to say to you. Thank you. Because you're giving an awesome platform, and the people that you had before, it's an honor to be one of these people. Brother, the MMA fighter, that trains at Jackson Wink.
Yeah.
Loved his story.
Yep. Ezekiel,
dude, machine. And we're gonna see him in the UFC someday, without a doubt in my mind. Without a doubt in my
100%.
mind. Jim, I met him at the gym, and he was just the nicest guy to me from day one, offering me pre-workouts. Hey, what are you hitting today? You know, follow me on social media. Yeah. And then we become friends, and I see him, we chatted up, you know, and like he does so much for the exercise community here. Awesome guy. Your wife, what a story. And like, for me, like, I'm always talking about my comeback, and like, that's bravery, you know? So like, I've faced adversity, and I'm like, I think I'll fit in here. So thank you. And it's locally. I always try my best to support local. So this is awesome that you're giving us a platform. So thank you.
No, and honestly, bro, I'm so blessed to have you here. Like I said, I don't care about the follows, the likes, the views. I just want. I'm the reason why we started this is I feel like there's a lot of stories that need to be told out there. I feel like we're at a point in life right now where mental health is so insane that people just try to find the easy way out. And I feel like everyone has a story. Everyone had a breaking point in their life. And I feel like sometimes your story might just touch someone's heart to either chase a dream, to get back on path, to make a life change. And I feel like every guest may be able to reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. It doesn't matter. They might be able to reach someone and change that person's life. And that's what it's all about.
Dude, I get emotional to think about that stuff because I've had people message me like, dude, like, going to your show gave me hope again. And I've had different people where, you know, and I mean, suicide's something that I said the big word right off the bat, but I've dealt with my entire life. You know, I've had very close family members that committed suicide when I was a kid. And it's crazy because, the day before everything was normal in my head, you never know what someone's battling with. So that was always like mindful, like, oh, this is the real world. People get the short end of the stick. And but then when I was 16, one of my best friends at the time, we were high school drilling partners, Spencer Cole. I do a lot of stuff for him and I'll always say his name, but he unfortunately passed away when we were 16 years old to suicide. And we had every single class together in high school. And that was something for me where everyone around me was such a mess. The whole school was crying. He was such a genuine guy. And for me, it took about, I'll be honest, 3 months to like really, because I was just waiting to hear his voice. Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
And like, it didn't feel real to me. But then when I realized like, I kind of had to be strong for him, for the sake of him. But then when I realized like how much he was doing for me, like, dude, he was a rock and a foundation. And I think he was such a giver that like to this day, like I can't give up because I have him in my corner. And I'll be honest, like I'll give you some more tragedy and I'm not trying to like harp on it, but like my brother-in-law, Joseph Cruz, shout out, he unfortunately passed away. Young, 28 years old in a accident on the freeway. And it's very hard to talk about, but he was my roommate. He was the reason why I stayed in Arizona. Like I had my wrestling tryout. I didn't know where I was going afterwards. I just knew I packed up my dad's van. I traded him my truck for the van and I suitcase full of dreams. And I dropped everything just for a tryout. I've never been in the big city. The biggest city I've driven was in Santa Fe. And I drove all the way to Phoenix, 8 hours from my house just for a tryout. And after it, I was like, okay, well, I had an apartment I was going to stay at. It fell through because I wasn't able to sign it in person. Mm-hmm. So they sold it to someone else and they had a different apartment that was like a 2-bedroom that I couldn't afford on my own. So God's will, man, the bookkeeper / wrestler / owner, John Wolfgang of Arizona Pro Training Center, he saw on Facebook, he's a Mormon, LDS missionary return.
Okay.
So there's a couple of houses where they would let the missionaries stay at after they came back from the missions. And there was just boys' houses, Mormon rules. And, I moved in. Like, it was one of those things like, hey, I'm tired from this mentally, physically, emotionally, so accomplished, but drained. I'm on zero. I'm on low. And he's like, hey, well, there's a room in a house. Like, it's 500 something a month, but like, it's a spot for you to stay tonight. And when I met the guys, I clicked with them. They're from the same small town as John, and John vouched for me. Like, just met this guy. He's an awesome guy. He's uprooting his life. And then I met him that night. My roommate eating tacos. I'm like, who's this white boy speaking perfect Spanish? He did his mission in Ecuador. It was this Southern America country.
Okay.
But he spoke Spanish and I remember like hearing his laugh and like I thought someone was messing around. And then like he was just always over and I remember this is a funny story, but he loved milk and he loved cheese. And he was a big guy. But I always had milk for my protein shakes and he'd be like, Tommy, could I borrow some of your milk? Sure. And just chug it out the gut, drink it out the gut. And I just met the guy. Very contagious laugh. And then unexpectedly, I won't get into the specifics, but my wife was involved in the accident, broke her leg. And it was a brutal night for everybody. And I remember talking to him a couple times that day. And then I realized like accidents happen. And, long story short, he got hit by a high driver trying to help someone else. He was trying to help my wife because he was such a giver whose car was broke down on the side of the road and helped her. Baby sister, stop crying. I'm here to save you. Saved her. And then a high driver wrecked into them. And he was the only tragedy was him while he was literally trying to give. And the worst part is my wife is the strongest person I know, but she watched it happen from the car window because he was trying to open her door.
Yeah.
She blacks out, but basically they got hit so many times that the car door handle was gone. And his fight or flight was save everyone else, you know? And unfortunately he passed away. But for me, like, how can I lose if I know I have him in my corner?
Yeah.
Because, and I don't know what you believe as far as like religion and Christianity, but I grew up Catholic and I believe in guardian angels and I believe in saints, and especially guardian angels. You know, I pray to Saint Michael every day. I'm terrified of needles, but if I wasn't, I'd get a tattoo of Saint Michael for sure. No tattoos yet, baby. But fast forward, that was April 2021. October 2021, I go to volunteer. My dad's a football coach. It's East versus West, small town rivalry game. And it's such a big rivalry. We don't even use their water, right? Like we bring...
That's how much hate there is.
That's how much hate there is.
And how long has that been going on for now?
Ever. You know, there's even a... What movie?
Are they in the same town?
Same town.
Okay,
it's a small town, too.
Sure. That makes sense then.
You have two options, you know? And geographically, it's the smaller, poorer side is the west side on this side of the river. And then...
So it's like rich boys versus like poor boys, essentially?
Pretty much. But like, there's not really like a lot of rich boys. I mean, you got the lawyers and the doctor's sons at Robertson. And then... So pretty much it's like the ranchers and the gangsters on the west versus like the city boys on the east.
Got you.
So I was on the west side. Well, anyway, I went to volunteer and I was gonna work out with the boys and stuff, and it was a big game and it was district championship and stuff. And one of my best friends was a coach, my brother was a coach, my dad's a coach, so that was my home, you know, and we hadn't beat them since 2011 or something, and we finally beat them this past year. But at that point, it was a streak. They beat us for decades. You know, I never beat them when I played. And Robertson, I think there's an insane stat. They've lost like 5 or 6 games in the past 20 years or something like that. Like powerhouse in 3A football. Respect where it's given. You know, they know how to win. Mm-hmm. Compared to West, you know, we had 4 wins. That was a successful season when I played. You know, wow. All the talent in the world, we just never gelled as a team. We'll get into that. That being said, I went to help out with the kids, and I stopped here in Albuquerque, and I worked out the Choose Fitness, and I got a good workout, and I'm having a good time, and I go down there, and we get the early East West, and because of COVID, they didn't allow the kids to share bottles.
Right.
But somehow, the government, the state, whoever, thought it would be okay if they shared cattle prong, like the spray prongs in their mouth, but it's the same 6 prongs they're all putting in their mouth.
It's the same thing.
It's the same exact thing. So dumb. But like we are a broke school, so we had a rigged up water tank, 30, 40 gallon water tank on a dolly strapped up so the kids could. Yeah. Well, it was my responsibility. I'm the strongest I've ever been at that time. 230, and I think I'm a unit. I'm wrestling all over the weekend, and I've took a weekend off specifically to be with my family and spend the holiday and everything. So I'm straddling in the back of a truck, an end zone camera, because the school, shout out West Las Vegas, refused to have transportation, the Suburbans, the equipment, because it's a small town. Okay. Like they didn't provide the necessities to get us from point A to point B with all of the equipment, end zone cameras, the water, like all this stuff, pads and everything. So because they didn't provide it, the coaches had to use their own vehicles. And it was just one of those deals where I was told to sit inside, but I was being stubborn because I was holding this water. And it was on a gallon, and it was full of water because we were using our water and we're using their water. And we take off, and I'm straddling, and we get on the main road. I'm talking, it's a 7-minute drive from school to school. And the driver, one of my good friends, he freaked out, I guess. Okay. And he stepped on it, 35, 45, and with me in the back, not a good idea. I don't think he meant it intentionally. Everything went flying out from the back. And from my point of view, this dolly takes off. This is my responsibility. Looking back, I should just let it go.
Let it go.
But also, if I didn't let it go, I would have probably just got yeeted out too, one way or another. But takes off in the air, 40 gallons of water, and I pull it back down. And as I pull down the wheels of the dolly catch. Take me with the full Scorpion. Flew out the truck with everything else. And I land Scorpion, right? Slid for about 20, 30 feet on my face.
Oh my goodness.
Cracked my skull. Broke my nose in 3 spots. Ripped my mouth from corner to down. That is sore from the inside. Wrists, knees. I have a little bit of road rash still everywhere. Feet, ankles, everything just road burned up. My shoes popped off. Swallowed my front couple teeth. Fractured skull. You could see my skull from the skin peeled up. 32 stitches across my face. Couldn't eat for a couple months because of the scarring inside of my mouth. So painful. And to top it off, ear, nose, and throat specialist in Santa Fe gave me COVID. So I had to do COVID test before I could see anyone. Taking a COVID test when they're bloody every time because my nose is broken in 3 spots.
Draining,
So painful. And then like they would refuse to see me if I didn't wear a mask in the office, but my ears were taped up like a mummy. Because we didn't know what it looked like. They fixed me up because my mom showed him a picture of what I looked like before. Because I had emergency facial reconstruction surgery. I had 32 stitches across my face and everything there. And it was definitely an angel. He was a doctor from Phoenix who was in Denver, who was on his way I-25 from Denver to Phoenix, where I lived, and he performed the surgery on me.
That is insane.
What are the odds? And small, right there, and I was able to go home that night, which is crazy. With the fractured skull around the bridge, hardest bone in your body, And the next week I still ran a mile and did 100 curls. It hurt like hell, but I told myself I can't quit.
You had to do
1 week after that, or 6 days after that. Probably not the smartest decision ever made. Not at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's probably a lot of pressure.
And it got worse after that.
I'm sure.
I had a worse week after that, worst month after that. But for me, it was like, if a Ford F-150 can't keep me down, no one can. Whether it's in the ring, whether it's in anywhere, the grocery store, no matter what anyone tells me, what adversity I face. I faced death so many times, so close.
Yeah.
That in that moment, like, I was at peace. Like, I know. So anyways, I'm flying in the air and everything slows down. Outer body experience. And I can't make this up, but like, everything's like almost slowed down, but like, I could hear everything quiet. And it felt warm. It didn't hurt. I hit the floor and adrenaline was already pumping. And for me, like, in that moment, I felt so at peace. And I literally thought to myself, if this is what dying feels like,
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Like, it feels good. Like, I'm comfortable right now. Like, but I do think my brother-in-law 100% saved me that day. My guardian angel. My grandfather, every time I talk about him, I pray to him, I always feel spirit with me. I get the chills.
You feel something.
Every time. And in that moment, I felt him next to me. And that's 100% like in my darkest time when I'm getting crunched up, I felt my brother-in-law with me and I did feel comfortable. And at that point, like, if I would have died, I knew I died giving him my 100%. At that point in time, I was grinding in the gym. That was the biggest embed. Like, I had so much momentum in wrestling and stuff, but that had to reset me. So like, this is like my comeback.
Yeah.
But that's the story with all the stitches and everything.
How long has it been?
That was October 2021. So, it's
been a while.
Kind of wild.
Yeah.
But recovery took a while. My wife is an angel. She sat with me where I couldn't stand up straight in the shower because I had COVID, compromised, and then I had no energy because I could not eat anything. I had to drink from a straw from this side, Boosts. Boost to sponsor me for that one. Drank so many Boosts, applesauce, and try not to get any acid on the cuts. And then my teeth were knocked out, and I'm just mentally looking in the mirror, and
you're just probably dropping all kinds of weight, huh?
so much. And like looking at myself too, like at that point, I've never been like the most confident guy. I'll be honest with myself. Like, I don't think I'm the best looking guy, but there's times where I look attractive enough where I can be confident. But at that point in my life, like I was clean shaved and I was 230 pounds, solid, jacked, and that was the best physical shape I've been. Close as I was to absence, like high school wrestling, and feeling good. And I had all the confidence in the world, and I got humbled really quick. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror. My front teeth are gone, and I don't know what I look like under the bandages. And I just know that this hurts, and I just know that my hands and everything just beat up. And then like COVID at that time, definitely like it was like close to 2 months. Where just to step onto the grass was a big day for me. To walk down the stairs, take a couple steps on the grass was a win.
So how was that feeling, like your first time back into the ring?
Hard, because I was out of shape.
Emotional though? Was it emotional?
To wrestle a match, yes. But I had to earn it. At the Arizona Press Center, they don't give anything. They don't give a single handout. Tommy, you want to come back? Congratulations, do your tryout again.
Dang. Like that, huh?
I mean, it wasn't like screw you, but it was like get in shape. And matter of fact, you came when the perfect time was a tryout. Like you don't have to do it, but like,
recommend you do.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And like, how bad do you want it? Like, do you want to come and ease yourself in? Or also like, there's no better time than now. Prove it. So I did my tryout again. Same brutal thing that I hated.
That's the reason why I have this right here, bro. Earned, never given.
I love this so much, bro.
Earned, never given. Because every guest that I've had so far, they've earned to where they at right now. Like they've earned. Like we all earned something, right?
Absolutely.
And we earned the stories that we talk about. We've earned the tragedies that we go through, the people that we lost. We earned all of that, and it's
a trip, dude.
It's crazy, bro. And that's the reason why I put that in there. It's earned, never given.
It's always stood out to me, and I wanted to bring it up, but I'm glad you did first. Another thing that you spoke about a couple times is like the power of manifestation in a way.
I love that word, bro.
And it's more powerful, and I didn't know much about it recently, and I felt it before. So I just signed on Wednesday my official contract to run a show, NWA New Mexico show in my hometown, Friday, June 12th.
Nice.
At the Rialto Patio, which is the biggest venue in town besides like the university gyms, right? Which that's the next step. Highlands, you hear me? But we're going to do a wrestling show out there in my hometown.
June 12th.
Friday, June 12th.
All right, you guys heard it. June 12th.
And I get a main event. But what's special about that is when I first decided I wanted to be a wrestler, I was in college, and freshman year wasn't going my way. I wanted to be on the football team, and the girl I was with, and it all happened where I didn't get along with my friends anymore. I lost the girl. I'm in physical pain. I couldn't be on the football team because I messed around a little too much, and then I broke my collarbone. So it was a situation where I was like, I'll join the rugby team to have the NCAA pay for my collarbone, because I never went to the hospital because I didn't have the courage to tell my dad I broke my collarbone messing around. So I never went to the I'm doing all this by myself.
Manning it up. Huh?
Manning it up. And to this day, it's still out of place a little bit, but I've done my work on it. But went out there, and depression hit me for the first time in my life. Like, I'm going to school, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Like, I lost the girl. Like, I'm not chilling with my friends anymore because of that girl. I'm not playing football, which is my only love besides wrestling. And then at that point, I had this cool Tommy Dreamer story, right? But I'm watching how to be a wrestler, how to take a bump. If I had those mats right there, bro, and in college, it'd been a wrap in my dorm room. So I'm bumping on the floor, and I live on the second floor in the dorms. My poor neighbors under me, but I'm learning how to bump off YouTube, and I'm obsessed with it. And I remember watching Pro Wrestling 101 with Justin Credible, all of his videos. Every day, I couldn't get enough of him. And he did one of Tommy Dreamer. And Tommy Dreamer said, well, there's a lot of things you can't control in wrestling, but there are some things you definitely can. Even if you're not a certain height, you could definitely change the way you look. So I started working out with intent. I wanted to work out to look like a wrestler.
Yeah.
Who has the best physiques? Oh, Triple H. Well, how does he work out?
Well, when I was growing up, one person that motivated me to actually work out, like to get big was Batista.
Dude,
Bro, when he came in, especially with his walk, like,
that was number 4 on my best list.
Like, oh my goodness, his physique was wild.
In the gym, I would literally look up Batista entrance videos to hype myself up. No, bro, I would literally
it's unique
all the time.
Like I love Rey Mysterio how he pops out and comes back in,
dude.
But Batista just like with that 50, like it's just.
I can't say enough kind words about Rey Mysterio. The times I've been fortunate to be around him, he's just he is the GOAT, like nicest person. I'll tell you off camera a little bit of my stories with him, but short story, like just talking to him. I met him once, didn't think much, and he was cool enough to like actually chat with me. Ask, hey, where are you from? Where are you training? Oh, I'm from New Mexico, but I live in Arizona. Well, I was in Arizona. Just to wrestle, that's my goal. Awesome. Good for you. Whatever. Next time I'm around him, different venue, different place, everything. Oh, New Mexico. He didn't recognize, he put my face with that conversation.
Yeah.
You know how many people he meets? Different cities
just
every week.
You.
And for him to that shows me when he talked to me, he was that genuine. You know, like, oh, this is this guy. Awesome story. So I can't say enough good things about him. But no, dude. So manifestation, right? So I signed this contract for the show, but I remember being in the dorms, walking around, doing my entrance, every different song, close my door in my room nonstop for hours. How I do this, and the venue I had in my head was the Rialto patio, because I remember seeing tickets and dances there, and a lot of people there, and like, oh, the sound system, the lights, like, imagine we put a ring at the bottom of the stage. So I'm doing these measurements on the stages this Wednesday, and it hit me like a truck. And I was like, 18-year-old me, this is what I envisioned every day. You know, when I sat on the toilet and I listened to YouTube for 45 minutes, going through different songs of what I do for my entrance and Pro Wrestling 101 and wrestling interviews, and oh, I'm going to do this, looking up wrestling schools, and I'm on my iPad instead of doing work. I'm on my tablet. You know, this one has YouTube, and this one is looking up the best wrestling schools in the area and stuff, and how to do this, and how to, like, all this stuff, and I'm blown away with it. But since that point, reoccurring, and I moved to Arizona, in my head, I play out my friends, my family, the closest people to me in that venue. And so the fact that I got to check it out and sign the contract to do it, like, it's going to be a dream come true. Without me even knowing it, like, everything I did up to that point, everything I've gone through was to get me to that point. Like, patience is, I learned it the hard way, but like, if it's that possible in 2016, now in 2026, I made it happen. With the commission I talked about earlier, they strangle independence. You know how many times I've been told no to do a show in Las Vegas? And now it comes to me. Like, you don't chase, you got to attract in a way, but also, like, it don't happen to just anybody. You have to earn it. You have to do everything you can for whatever happens, and then the door opens and you're ready. You have to stay ready. So now I'm going to do this show. When I do it, like, it's going to be a dream come true in so many ways.
You've manifested your entire career.
And I've seen me walk down that ramp so many times when there's never been wrestling there before. But I've done it. So when I do it, it's going to be like emotional, you know? But I can say the same thing about the El Rey Theater, because I remember being 18 years old and going to a concert with my brother Benny. And I remember literally telling him, we're moshing its creator, and it's so much fun. And, dude, this would be a sick place for wrestling. Dude, hell yeah. Imagine, put the ring right here. Sure enough, Duke City puts the ring exactly where I said. And now I get to do that. How fortunate, you know?
You know what? I'm a very big believer in manifestation. So, crazy story. So, 2019, I was deployed. I was in Africa. And I said, I want to start a clothing brand. And that's how Jiu-Jitsu Kartel, like, it happened. I manifested it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I wanted to meet all these people. Like, I would see, like, Donald Sanchez. I'd go to Tingley Coliseum, and I would see him fight bare knuckle boxing. Got to meet him. I got to meet all these MMA fighters. Got to meet them.
Yep.
Got to meet you. I was at El Rey Theater. Took my boys to go see you. And I'll be like, man, Cusco's a badass.
Hell yeah.
I'd be sick one day to meet him. Bro,
Here we
we're
are.
in my garage talking to you right now. It's crazy.
Hell yeah.
You know? So manifestation is a real thing, and if you want it, man, just
it works if you drive the
works.
car, right? So like if you have a roadmap in your head, I want to get here. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's never linear, and that's progress in anything. Especially as a trainer, I'm telling my clients like, you got to have your dips and your valleys, but as long as you're getting there, right?
But I feel like we live in a time where like a lot of people hit that dip and they're like, it's over.
They want instant gratification. Dopamine is at an all-time high, you know, like if right now too, like if I wanted a Sonic cheeseburger right now, I get on my phone, we'll get it in 30 minutes.
Yep.
Back in the day, you know, I had to get up, drive there, you know, all, you know, like how convenient. Like if I wanted to watch a certain match, I want to watch Undertaker versus Mankind. YouTube, I could watch it right now.
Right now.
Back in the day,
rent,
yeah, you know,
VHS.
you had to rewind it, wait for it, like,
yep.
And I grew up with that, so like I learned to respect like what I had before because now it's so convenient. And I think nowadays people want that instant gratification. Like I've been focusing on growing my Instagram. I am just close. I'm like 10 followers away from 3,000, which is a big milestone for me.
It is a big milestone.
And you know, I need 10 followers. But
we're gonna make sure we'll make it happen. We'll get it.
Hell yeah! But for me, it's like it's a goal, and it's daily posting, it's daily stories, it's daily reels, and
interactions,
and you know, it's a lot of work, especially when you're juggling 10 other things.
So check this out. So I started Jiu-Jitsu Kartel May 11th of 2025. Okay. I had 2 followers, my wife, and I had one of my good friends. That's all I had. And I told myself, it's funny, my wife and I talk about it all the time. I'm like, how crazy would it be when I get 1,000 followers?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, it happened in 6 months. And then I'd be crazy if I get 2,000. We're at 2,000 already. I think I'm about to hit like 2,000, like I think 2,050. But like, it's happening, bro. And you have to keep manifesting. You have to keep like.
I was at 1,300. I moved to Arizona.
That's crazy.
And now I'm almost at 3K. So that's literally more than double. And it's genuine, dude. Like you got to make the drives. Like, yes, I've wrestled primarily in the Southwest, West Coast. Yes. But like I've wrestled in Chicago. Like I've gone to Illinois or Iowa. You know, I've wrestled, you know, all over the place, Dallas, and you know, you have to put your name out there. I drove to Grand Junction, you know, I'm in Salt Lake, you know, I'm in Los Angeles, and then I'm in Winslow, Arizona, and like it's everything in between. And I have followers from everywhere. And now like my posts would just go from like, 60 likes, now I'm getting 200 likes, but it's like, oh, this person's from California, this person's from the gym here in Albuquerque, but this person's from Tucson.
It's a huge spider web.
And then it starts growing and growing, and it's like, all it takes is that one shot, dude, of like, oh, I've seen this guy before, and now he's over here, so I did the TNA stuff. If you look up the comments on that video, you know, I took 2 moves, got my butt kicked, and I was out of the ring in 30 seconds, and every single comment's about me. People even saying I pay for my followers. I can't even pay for my own bills sometimes. I already pay for followers. No, but like how humbling is that? Because it's people from all over my life.
Yeah,
you know, and like that tells me I'm doing something right.
You definitely are, brother. And you know that's one thing that you have to keep grinding, bro. Keep grinding, keep chasing your dream.
And here's the thing, like right now, currently, like I'm back on my grind. I'll be honest, but like once upon a time, it consumed my life. And growing up on a farm, you know, school started at 7:45. We didn't get out to 3:15. So for me to catch the bus, my alarm went off every day at 4:45 in the morning, so I could split wood in the morning, feed animals in the morning, shower, get everything. Because to catch the bus, it left every day at 6:15 to get to the school by 7:20 by the time we do our pickups and everything. And we had 20-30 minutes to hang out because we're from the ranch. We're the ranch bus.
Yeah,
we're always the first ones at school. So my days started at 40-45, and then I did football, wrestling, track. So I never had off season. So summer ball, still doing all the chores. So then when school came around, it was get up that early, full day of school, an hour of traveling because you have 30 minutes going and 30 minutes coming, no matter what, every single day, the commute. And then it's the full day of school. And then sports. practice us from 3:30 to 5:30, 3:30 to 6:30. And then my dad was a coach, so he'd stay there talking. And then we get home, 8:39, and guess what? You still have to feed animals. You still have to bring in wood. You still have to take water to the dogs.
Yeah.
There's still stuff to be done. You still have homework to do. And then my favorite thing to do is finally, after everything, I'd watch wrestling and eat my dinner, because guess what? My alarm's going off in 6 hours. And that was me 14, 15, 16, 17 years old building that discipline. Not by choice, because I had no other way. But I was looking at my role models. Look at my dad. He was getting up before me and working a hard job and still doing the same long days as me. My mom, who would pick up bus duty to make ends meet. My mom that would volunteer everything she would do. Their sorority sisters and everything just to make ends meet. And we never had free weekends. If it wasn't a sport thing, it was, constantly busy. But that was the grind. And I can't say enough good things about my parents, because not only did they do, they did it, everything so selflessly. Everything was for the family. Sacrifice after sacrifice after sacrifice. And they showed me, without forcing it down my throat, the true meaning of hard work. Yeah. And it wasn't like, you got to do it, you got to grind. No, we just lived. And what a blessing it is to do this. So when I got to college and I joined the rugby team after everything went south for me, fun fact, I never lost a single sevens game in rugby in my life. National tournaments, everything. I scored in Des Moines, Iowa. He scored a try against, big D1 universities and everything. But we were never the biggest team. We were never the fastest team. Maybe a little bit fastest. But you know what we'd had? We had an unbreakable brotherhood. And I mean that because I grew up with that structure I was saying. But when I got to college, practice started at 5, which means we were on the field at 4:45, boots on, warmed up, because at 5 is when we're going. So you got to get there 15 minutes before to boot up, which means I got to walk I don't have a car at the time. I had to walk from my house, my dorm, to the gym or to the field. So I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning to get to the field by 4:30, 4:45, so I can start stretching and warm up. If it's snowing, if it's raining, if it's cold, we held each other accountable. If one person was late, we all run. If one person missed, what's your excuse this time? We're all facing we're all running. Mm-hmm. Next time, see ya. So it got to the point where you didn't want to be late, but we held each other accountable to where not only did I have those early practices and we're running 5 miles and then we're hitting each other with no pads. And then I would go to work for 3-4 hours. And then I had a full 16-hour work schedule at school. And then I had to work for another 2 hours at the gym. And then we had team lift. And then we had team dinner. So my days were, and then we had mandatory study. And not to mention our practice was 3 hours, So my days from then were also 4 o'clock in the morning until 9:30, 10 at night.
And the same way now.
And then now, I'm already programmed, dude. I'm a machine. And I'm not saying you got to grind that hard, but all of that hard work eventually pays off. Perfect example, my show in Vegas. The amount of obstacles you have to overcome to run a show, especially in rural New Mexico, commission will charge you per mile from Albuquerque, just for them to be present. They don't do anything. They don't even know what the sport is.
But you know what? That's how they are with boxing, kickboxing,
everything, dude.
I know they're trying to do that with jiu-jitsu now.
Oh no!
But they're just trying. It's like you said earlier.
It's a money grab.
It's like a bed bug. That's all it is. Try to suck it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, did you watch WrestleMania?
I loved it. Yes, I actually had time.
What'd you think of Brock Lesnar retiring?
It was a surprise, but I thought it was beautiful.
He's been doing it for 20-some years, man.
What a blessing to finish it in some sort of capacity in front of everyone. It was a big weekend for everyone. Outside of WWE, Sandman retired. That was crazy. Yeah. Vampiro retired. And in a way, as people leave, new spots are to be taken. Oba stepped up. Yeah. Brock left. Oba stepped up. He's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I think we're in a renaissance of pro wrestling, and I mean that in the best possible way. The commission tries to strangle it. There was no wrestling at all, no promotions, like one kind of wrestling school in town. And now here we are in 2026 with 3-4 wrestling schools and 3-4 promotions, you know? Like, and I almost want to say too, like, I remember asking, like, one of my big goals when I first started training in Arizona, I only moved to Arizona specifically to train and wrestle.
Okay.
If there was a spot in Albuquerque when I was in college, I would just move to Albuquerque. But I did my research and I looked for the most, I might even say intense, but like structured program. And that was definitely Arizona. But what's one of my main reasons I went out there is because I wanted that structure. I wanted that drill. I wanted that tough enough feeling, you know? But when I moved out there, the goal was to always do a show in New Mexico. Always. And it was, and I would have people tell me, like, dude, it's never happening. Like the commission, like it's not like, so I always had a goal, like, well, when I get good enough or when I get signed, I come and do some money, I'll put a show on in Vegas. But yeah, let's do Rialto. Literally my goal somewhere. Well, it's funny how it works out. Like I would always say that, or imagine it at the LRA. I wonder how much they cost. So, and then all of a sudden I'm wrestling in the momentum. And then, we had to do a 1 hour power hour to graduate from a wrestling school with the head trainer. 1 hour on the fly, cardio up. Can you do everything I've taught you how to do? Can you listen? Well, I did a 30-minute in person in front of a live audience in Grants, New Mexico, where
small town, very small
town. I have a lot of family out there, and all my family showed up, and I got to wrestle like pretty much a private show in front of my friends and family because they all went to see me in the main event. And I got to wrestle my trainer Don Vitale, and he graduated me that night, and unexpected for me. I was like, am I good on my own? Like I've done some small things and everything, and then all of a sudden, shakes my hand and imagine kissing my head and congratulations, like you did it, like proud of you, like go, the world is yours, kid. And I was like, wow, torch passed in a way, but also got his seal of approval, So for me thinking I would never wrestle in New Mexico, I just did. And then couple months later pass, I'm actually at Disneyland. I wrestled that whole 2 scoop story.
Okay, yeah. I'm
just as a day after that, Hobo Hank sends me a message. Hey brother, they ran a Duke City show. One of them, and I wasn't on the first one. And they're like, hey, we would love to use you. What is it? What's your rate? How can we get you out here from Arizona? And I was like, dude, I wrestled in New Mexico for free, honestly, bro.
Yeah.
Like we came to an agreement and flew me down here. Dream come true, dude. I got to wrestle in the LRA when I literally said, imagine wrestling right here in the LRA to my brother when I was 18. And then that night, I got to do it in front of 700 people. I made more money that night off of merchandise and wrestling and stuff that I ever made in that paycheck that month from my training job. And then it hit me like, I never did it for the money. So like to get a little bit of return was like grateful, dude. Like beyond humble.
And to me, like money is not the answer to everything, but it definitely does make the world revolve, right? Like
yes.
If I were to tell you, hey man, like can you work 40 hours a week for free? You're like, no man, like I gotta pay my bills, but so money does matter, especially in what you do, your gear, your health, your body, travel, like gear, like it all makes sense, but I definitely see the passion that you have in it. But you're doing it for years now, man. And look where you're going, bro.
Crazy to think about years, dude. Because I still feel like that 21-year-old kid that's eager to learn, because after my matches, I'll watch it back with my trainers and stuff. And like when I'm doing that, I'm just a fetus in the wrestling world.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of controversial takes about wrestling, and I'll get into them specifically in the state where like everyone's dream is to be on WWE. That's their goal.
Right.
And I ask them, what are you doing this for? Because you're going to miss out on family time. Your body's going to hurt. You're going to, honestly, if I mean real, you're going to shorten your life or comfortability
in your life. A lot of people don't understand that WWE wrestlers, they're on the road more than 200 days a year.
More than that, dude. Yeah.
I saw a story on a podcast. I think CM Punk was talking about it, and he said that he was on the road for almost 300 days a year. That's insane, bro.
And even the guys in independence now, because like their schedules are just so chaotic. And I've seen a taste of that, and it kicks your butt. But I asked them, what are your goals? And it's always, I want to be a millionaire on TV. And it's like, well, okay, I hope you succeed, first of all. Mm-hmm. But if it means that much to you and that's all you've ever wanted, why don't you apply yourself to it? Well, I'm doing this and this. Okay, but also doing this, everyone else. Like, what are you going to do to stand out? And I get it. Like the grind, like I was going recently, like in Arizona, I was going to college, working full time in the gym, sometimes 60-hour weeks, still training 3 times a week in Arizona and traveling with wrestling. Like,
you know what? You do it because you see what you're made of. You have that passion, bro.
Well, like, here's the thing: is that passion you 100%? But like, people say they have that same passion as me, and I really want to find somebody that. And in Arizona, like, I'll shout out Devin Reno. That guy wants more than anyone else in this world. Pretty City Express. He's gonna get signed. Like, if he's not signed already, he just did the NWA thing and he balled out. But he's someone I can relate to because it's never been a question of if, it's a question of when and how. But I talk to these students out here and like that's their goal. And then I'm like, okay, well, let's load up a car for all just WrestleMania weekend. There's like 70, 80 shows going on locally, independently, Last year I wrestled 6 to 8 times, 3 days. Awesome. I had a couple bookings. Well, it's expensive, gas prices and everything. Well, last year we rented a big van, 6, 7, 8 of us. We all pitched in the hotel rooms. We split it, 4 guys, 2 reds, made it affordable. And then we all went out, made our connections. Well, awesome. Well, this year, every group chat, hey guys, let's get something together. Let's do this again. Everyone that wanted it more than anything else, you know what they really wanted? They wanted to be a fan. They wanted to watch WrestleMania at home. No offense to that. That's what I ended up doing. Loved it. But it's like,
when I go out there and grind.
Yeah, like, it's like,
and that's what drives me nuts, bro.
Bro, it drives me nuts.
It drives me nuts, right? People are always like, oh, I want this. I want this. I want this, right? What are you doing to get what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going to come to you. I mean, sometimes it will. Don't get me wrong. But how great does it feel after busting your ass for so long till you finally get what you want and be like, damn, I deserved it because I worked into it. I put all this work into it. I sacrificed it and I got what I want. But I feel like a lot of people will get what they want and they kind of just stop.
Kind of. Or they get discouraged after you don't get it the first time. There's a quote I like, and I see it like on social media, whatever my algorithm is right now, but it's like motivational. It's like, if you were 2 failures away from winning, how fast would you fail? Yeah. Would you want to fail? Like, I faced so much adversity and failed at so many times, but like, I have to have that mentality of like, if a Ford F-150 came me down, no one can. Like, if I have the ball and Ezekiel Elliott's coming at me, I'm going to truck you. I don't care who you are for Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to put everything in me to truck you, and if you run me over, do it again. Let's see you do it 3 times in a row. I have that mentality. You have to have that psycho mentality. When I'm in the ring, I don't care if you are someone that's had less than 10 matches or a veteran. Like, I'm going to push you to your limit. When you're in the ring, you're a 2 scoops ring. This crowd, they're here to see me. And everywhere I've gone, I've got my character over. It's never failed me yet. But I keep that mentality, like, you know what? This is my time. And, I drove 12 hours for my 8 minutes of fame. This is my 8 minutes.
Earned it.
I earned this time right now. So when I see people that, oh, dude, congrats. Like, let me get in the car ride with you. Sure. Yeah. There's always room. And then it comes down to it. Oh, this came up. Or, oh, and? Like, I was, got hit by a semi, car's totaled. Guess where I was at? The gym, training. Like, like, people have an inconvenience. Like, oh, I don't have a ride. There's Uber. Oh, I don't have money for it. My gym's hiring. Like, yeah, I don't feel pity for you.
Exactly. And there's always answers to every problem.
Every problem, dude.
Are you willing to? Like, people are like, oh, like, I don't have enough money. Why don't you get a better job?
Yeah.
Or get a job. Like, And that's what drives me nuts. Is like we live in a time where like everyone wants everything handed, and you know what? Like that's not the life we live. Like now, everything is earned, bro.
Dude, that's why I like this so much. Honestly, like I keep getting chills like 3-4 times doing this podcast, and like I feel like I'm rambling on, but this is what it's all about. I think because I love that earn never give, and I need a Jiu-Jitsu Kartel shirt with that in the back for the gym.
Bro. You figure it out.
Because that means so much to me. This like a little bit more backstory. Like COVID changed my life because I imagine moving out to chase your dreams, dropping everything in June, and then you get momentum, and then you end up getting like a better job, and you have a job that works with your schedule, and everything's coming together, and you're learning how to wrestle, and you picked up a skill, and you're like, okay, now I learned how to do this on a higher level because I went to a real wrestling school that taught the hard way. And I'm doing 500 air squats every day before I'm even allowed to touch the ring. And then when I touch the ring, it's a blow up drill designed to make me hate my life. And then I already have Jalo legs. And then it's repetition beyond, like with 2 trainers, Don Vitale and Gabriel Gallo, that will not hold back, you know, but only because they care about you. And if they didn't care about you, they wouldn't do it. And not at all. You know, they're spending their birthdays with us instead of their families. So why can't I give them 3 hours of everything when they're already sacrificed that? Yeah. You know? So that kind of gets me too, where like, you know how many birthdays I missed when I lived for 6 years in Arizona? You know how many graduation parties I missed? Holidays where I FaceTimed? Was it worth it? I like to think it was when I get the payoffs now. But at the time, I didn't think I had the payoffs now. But you have to make that goal. Like, you have to make that cut in your head. Mm-hmm. You know, people want to watch WrestleMania with their family and be at WrestleMania wrestling. It's like, it's one or the other, dude. Like, it's hard to say, but like, you kind of have to give up everything and expect nothing to see results.
It's just a leap of faith, brother.
It's a leap of faith, and you got to have blind faith. And I'm stuck between God's will, as far as like everything's decided and you're on the right path, because I feel that a lot. Between that and I'm a creator of my own destiny, because there's so many times where.
So about that, right? So I feel like everyone's life's already planned, like you said.
I agree,
right?
To a degree, yes.
But I feel like, I think us as human beings, right? Like, we have to take that risk and that chance, because imagine if we didn't take it, we regret it later.
100%. 100%.
You know, and I'd rather me take the chance and fail and know that that wasn't my path than to be like, dang, what if it was my path?
But you know what? That's what makes you special. And that's what makes people like us special, is like, we're willing to make that risk. Because you know how courageous that sounds to the outside people that don't have this ambition? Like, you sound like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that to your body? Why would you do that to your car? Why would you leave? You know, why would you invest this money?
That's like, why I don't believe in that saying. What is the definition of insanity? Trying to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different result? That's bullshit. Yeah, I don't believe in that.
That's
because, bro, you're gonna fail. Like, there's no manual to life. Like, there's no book that your parents raised you. Be like, here, Hito, follow this and you'll be successful. Nah, it doesn't work that way. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. You have to make minor adjustments to get you somewhere.
Dude,
and
yes.
Joe Rogan said it best. Imagine being on a boat, right? You put the boat, hey, go north at this degree, right? That boat, you keep it at that degree, it's going to go that direction. But the minute you put it to that, let me throw it off by 1%, right? 10, 15, 20, 30 miles, that boat is now veering off miles to where you would have been. And I feel like people's lives kind of get veered off because they make one small adjustment.
Bro, that's deep, especially the month I just had going off the wrong direction a little bit. But no, now it's like I made that adjustment back, you know?
Yeah, make it. Because, yeah, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to do drugs, or I'm just going to drink every night. Hey, I'm just going to miss the gym, right? And you start missing it and missing it and missing it.
Yep.
And eventually that boat is, now you can't even see the island you're trying to head to because you're veered off so far for so long.
Dude.
That it's kind of hard to bring yourself back in.
And that reminds me a little of a quote I like coming from my wrestling school. Can you tell I love those guys? Because I've talked about them like 20 times. Shout out Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center. But they don't believe in practice makes perfect because we're going to make mistakes no matter what. Yeah. Perfect practice makes perfect if your goal is perfection. But don't be afraid to mess up. Yeah. But they're going to correct you because you can mess up 10 times in a row and get it right the 11th time if you are on the right path of direction. There's no point of doing the same thing to yourself over and over and over if you're not actively trying to get better. But if you are a good listener, if you're coachable, you'll get it. All you got to do is have that trust of faith, that blind faith, that leap of faith, where specifically in my industry, it hurts. I'm be real. Don't be a pro wrestler. If you want to be a professional wrestler, go to school first. And if that doesn't work out, this should, unless it means everything to you, this is not a hobby. Nothing wrong with being a weekend warrior. If that's your goal, live your dreams. Have fun, be safe, apply yourself accordingly.
Just know the outcome.
Know the outcome.
And that's one thing I tell my daughter all the time, because she's a competitive dancer. I tell her, there's always someone out there working harder than you. So when you fall short to your goal, like, don't be hard on yourself, because what can you have done to outwork that person?
Yeah. And I love amateur wrestling, high school wrestling. I loved that. But you know what that is? Especially in the state finals, in the tournaments, specifically college wrestling too. Everyone's at such a high level. You should know said jiu-jitsu as well. It's probably the same. When you get to that higher level of the championship rounds, it doesn't matter about skill as much anymore. It's who quits first, who gets tired first. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest deciding factors. The skills there. Everyone already has that edge. Everyone has the experience, or they already have the talent to be at that area. And it's literally a mental battle. Who's gassing out first? Who didn't do their sprints? Yeah. Who didn't finish their stairs? Who veered off their diet?
But I guarantee you, if you were training and they told you, hey, if you did 6 more sprints, full max, you would win the championship. How many people would do it?
Yep.
All of them.
Yep. If you was given to the routine.
You just can't see that finish line, and that's where people fall short.
Yes, and then people don't get it once or twice, and they throw in the towel, dude. And that's there's so many wrestlers that have so much talent, and they don't get booked on a show. Poo-poo face. Who cares about wrestling?
Or they go off on the promoter. Or they,
everyone else's fault. Yeah. Everyone else's fault. Stuff like that, and you have to pay your dues. And I use that Ultra story as an example to my guys that I train with, because I'm not saying they're entitled, but some of them are like, yeah, I'm not going to go for WrestleMania because I'm not booked. And yeah, I don't want to lose the money, which I get. In this economy, save your money. Don't be a wrestler. But it's also how do you think you make those connections? You got to go and apply yourself and say hi and humble enough to my name is so-and-so, and how can I be a your service? Is there anything I could do for you? I have my stuff. If there's an opportunity, I'll do security, or do you need a bellboy? Anything you need, let me know. This is my name. I'm from this person. You could, that's why that's good. I've got a resume. I've confidently enough could say I've only reached out to one wrestling company in my life. That was GCW when they came into town, and they got back to me and said, hey, we don't have any control of this card, but you look awesome. We'll love to see you in the future. Keep working hard. Oh, awesome. But I'm fortunate enough where every other promotion has reached out to me. Every other promotion that I've ever wrestled for has kind of come to me. And there are a lot of recurring stuff. So it's not I'm just overly crazy booked because my schedule gets crazy. But it's hey, I go out there and that first time I make a good impression. Set up, tear down. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Feedback. You got to be a student of the game. Because I'm not just representing myself. I'm representing my school. I'm representing my brand, my business, my money. So then when I, a couple weeks later, get that text message, hey, are you available on this date? Because I'm not just the wrestler. I'm a guy that they can rely on. I need someone out there to throw the ring up and stuff like that. And now these younger guys, at my wrestling school, it's no ifs, ands, or buts. They're there at 10 in the morning at the storage unit. Boom. Yeah. Out here, guys aren't booked on a certain show, but they're booked last time, and then they're just not going to help. Well, how do you think you're going to get on the next one? You show up and you expect nothing and give everything. And it's, hey, my opponent has health condition. Can you go? Do you have your stuff in the car? Boom. They're not going to get that because they're like, well, I'm not booked. I'm like, you're not getting better then, I see that a lot. And it's kind of like, not like, yes, an ego. It's not like an ego, like I'm better, I'm too good for this, but it's like you are afraid to probably fail or you aren't ready. And if you aren't ready, then what are you really doing? Like, should you even be on this show? And I fight those own battles in my head. I talk to the Turbo Tony a lot because we have a lot in common. He's been doing this for a long time. And it's nice to have someone that has that same vision as me. And he gets it. He's been around for a while, but he's definitely a good resource to have in my corner as far as like a mentor in a way. Fun fact, the first ever independent match I've ever saw was him.
Oh, wow.
Here in Albuquerque, the Westside Community Center, DWO. I'm 18 years old. We'll talk about this story. Basically, I'll break it down. Depressed, college, second or third week. It's the fall. It's October, actually. It's a little later in. Day of Destiny 9, which was the WrestleMania of the local show out here. I never had social media. I was country boy, didn't care about it. And then I had a friend tell me, dude, like, because I was going through a breakup and it was messy and I was heartbroken. He's like, dude, make a Facebook. There's so many girls on Facebook. So I made a Facebook on a Wednesday night and I got a message from a fan and his profile picture was him wearing a cane mask. And he's like, hey, bro, do you like wrestling? And I was like, I love it. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Matter of fact, like I've been watching all these videos, like how to be a wrestler. Now I have a Facebook and like I'm friends with independent wrestlers and I see these posters for Jeff Jarrett coming into town in Albuquerque. Oh, shoot. First day on Facebook. Messages me and I'm like, okay, good to know. He's like, well, there's a show this Saturday. Okay. Well, my mom's in Santa Fe with her dad. She's busy. She already has plans. My brothers were in Corpus Christi, Texas with New Mexico Highlands at the biology program at the ocean doing research. So they were out gone in Corpus Christi. And just my dad. And so broken collarbone and I've had the worst week of my life and everything's falling apart. And I call my dad and I'm like, hey, what are we doing this week? He's like, no plans. Everyone's gone. And I was like, me neither. And I was like, yeah. Well, I just made a Facebook and there's a Jeff Jarrett's going to be wrestling in Albuquerque. And he's like, man, we should go. Well, all the 4 tickets were sold out. And I was like, if we're going to go, my dad's like, we're going to sit front row, like just you and I. Like we never do anything, just him and I. I'm very close with him. But it's always like my brothers or the whole family, honestly. But if it's a guy's thing, it's my brother's guy's thing. And at that point, like I needed that day. Magical day from start to finish. This week went from like bottom of the bottom to all of a sudden like light bulb. So I call him and make a plan, and he came and picked me up that Friday night. Went at the Chinese restaurant in town, and just him and I. And Saturday we drove up, and I was making this exit here. Going to the Westside Community Center. I slid him. We hit on the highway, and him and I chatted about everything. And for the first, I've always had a lot of respect for my dad, but for the first time in my life that night, we didn't talk father and son. We talked as friends. We talked about wrestling as friends. What do you like about this? Who's your favorite this? Back and forth awesome. Conversation. And then he didn't give me that fatherly advice about girls. He talked to me as a friend. What do you think about this? My boy. And gave me this advice, and I'm opening up a little bit about it, which I haven't opened up about anybody. I kept it to myself, and then with him, like, that's the example of a good father. Yeah. He wasn't there to lecture me. He was there to be what he needed to be, because he was always structure, football coach, hot head, kind of yell at you. He was, he was never like in any way, shape, or form like abusive or an asshole, but he was stern. He was strict. I wouldn't talk back, like I wouldn't do anything stupid around him. Mm-hmm. But he was always that kind of way where I was like, let me watch out a little bit, But at that point, like, he put his walls down a little bit, and I ran in. and just that night, like we stopped and we had Whataburger in Bernalillo, just him and I sat there. The conversation didn't stop from the car. We sat at the table, we ate our food, talking didn't stop. Got back in the car. Well, what happened was there was a thing for 2 tickets of a raffle deal, and I ended up winning it. Whatever the question was, for 2 former VIP after it being sold out. And there's only 2 of us. Normally, there's only 5 of us. So, hey, Dad, I got us 2 VIP tickets. So we go and we have this awesome trip. And the first match I see is Turbo Tony. It was Tony Fletcher versus Nathan Jolly, Johnny Swole. Shout out Johnny Swole. I love you, brother. Wherever you are in life right now, I always think about you. And I'm sitting front row next to my dad, and I just remember walking in and seeing the ring in person and being like, I looked to him and said, Dad, I love this. I love this. And he's like, this is crazy. We're sitting front row at a wrestling show. Freshly 18. And first match goes on, and guess where that Johnny Swole is from? Corpus Christi, Texas, where my brothers were at. What a coincidence.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so I watched this show and I tell my dad I'm recording it. So my Snapchat memories, I'm like, this is amazing. After the match, I tell my dad, I'm doing this. No, I'm going to be a wrestler. Like, these guys are living my dream right now. And he's like, they're about your size. You could probably, you get a little bit of muscle on you and you could do it. I think so. My dad just told me I could be a wrestler.
Green light.
Boom. Because I didn't like college at that time. Everything fell apart, So then intermission goes on, and I'm taking a piss at Gino Rivera, one of the trainers OTR. Shout out Gino, awesome guy. Nothing but respect to him. He's treated me great. But I meet him in the bathroom, and he tells me, he was a bad guy on stage, right? And I'm peeing, and he's peeing next to me. And I'm like, fuck, there's this guy, I'm peeing next to a wrestler. Holy crap. And we're washing our hands next to each other. And I was like, hey, man, I just wanted to say something. Like, it's my first time ever coming to this. I've always wanted to wrestle my entire life. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. It's the only thing I've ever saw myself doing. But I'm 18 years old, and I never knew I'd be able to do this. I never thought I was big enough to do this. How do I do this? Nice to meet you. And he tells me, do you have a Facebook? I was like, I just made one. Like, literally just made one. He's like, message me tonight so I know who you are. And I'll figure out how to get you trained. I'll pay for your training, because nobody I can see it in your eyes. Like, you want this. He's like, you said you never thought you'd be big enough. Look at me. I've been doing this for 10, 15 years.
That's crazy, bro.
And I'm like in shock. Like, I'm going to tell my dad, I just met a wrestler in the bathroom. He says I could do it. Like, he'll get me trained. And I can't wait to tell my dad this new news. Like, what the heck? And then they do the reading for like a raffle that we won, the VIP stuff. Came with a raffle for a signed Jeff Jarrett guitar. I was one off. My dad wins it. He wins the signed Jeff Jarrett guitar. Magical moment after magical moment. I'm on head over heels at this DWO show, and I'm just blown away. And then there was crazy hardcore matches and Hobo Hank, and then
the stars just aligned, man.
Dude, everything. And then I'm talking to Johnny Swole, and I'm like, bro, I just made a Facebook. I'm gonna start training. Like, where are you from? I'm from Corpus Christi. No way, my brothers are there right now. Well, tell them I said what's up, because I'm in your city. And like, too many coincidences, right?
Yeah. And
I end up chatting with Tony, and I end up being the first ever New Mexico Chili champions with him.
That's awesome, bro.
Inaugural. And he was, from that point on, the coolest guy on earth to me, living my dream. And he was my age at that time,
Yeah.
And shout out Tony. If I've ever had a question about fitness, wrestling, mental health, traveling, sports, he's never not responded to me since I was 18 years old. We have about 10 years of friendship now, and now I'm in a feud with him in Phase 1 and Duke City, so I gotta kick his butt in different matches, but like, I gotta be in a package with not only a friend, but someone I look up to.
That's awesome.
From the first time I've ever seen wrestling live. And like, I've got to wrestle Gino in a main event. Like, that wrestler. Like, so like, that's just a magical experience for me, where I told myself, like, that day was predestined. I had to go through the hard shit. The physical pain, the emotional pain, the stress, the anxiety, the losing the football, everything, to feel like nothing, to feel useless, to feel like no meaning in life, to all of a sudden, I love my life. This is the coolest thing. I'm going to look up whatever wrestling school is closest to me, the best one, and I'm going to pack my bags and I'm going to go. And then I got really close to my dad after that day. We'd have lunch all the time, every Friday. He'd coach football in town. I was in the dorms. He'd pick me up, recap our week. He never texted until recently, but I'd text him. And then he'd call me. Well, super, super close with him. And you know, he's doing great things. But when I moved to Arizona, I broke his heart.
Sure. Because
I got that close to him. But you know what? We cemented our bond even further because we talked every day that I was gone. And how long my days were, we still talked for 2-3 hours at night.
That's crazy.
At midnight, he's watching wrestling with me. We're watching the reruns. Did you see this? And we're just chatting every day. And then it, you know, became twice a week, once a week. But then I started wrestling in Albuquerque, so I'd see him more in person.
Yeah.
And it was one of those deals where they dropped me off at the airport, and it was sad, but I'll see you soon. And it was, go kick ass, son. Go live your dreams. I'll see you next month or see you in 2 months. And then flip it, they go see me wrestle in Arizona when I never earned this shit, because I went from not being on the show, from being a photographer to being the gear runner to earning my spot on the pre-show, where my parents drove 8 hours to see me wrestle 4 minutes. They drove 8 hours one way, 16 hours round trip to see me wrestle 4 minutes. And they would have missed that for the world. And I went from the pre-show, worked my way up to the main show, to the longest ever PCW AZ tag team champions. And they no miss shows out there. So it went to the point where they'd go out there and visit me, and then it was them leaving me. See you guys next time. That was sad, you know? And now, you know, I don't see them a lot because I live 90 minutes away and they're busy and everything, but like, it's a little bit more accessible. I could drive home. Mm-hmm. But what a journey, and like, those are sacrifices I made. But like, a little bit of the, sorry I missed your birthday, Dad, but now, you know, you get to watch me wrestle on my birthday. Yeah, you know?
Awesome. That's beautiful.
Like, that's what it was for. And a lot of like different manifestations, they'll do like that Rialto thing is going to be emotional for me, but like, inside pro wrestling, you asked me a couple insider stuff, but like, when I won the tag champions, I didn't know I was going to win, you know? So that was genuine emotion when I won. And all I was thinking about was, where the hell is my dad? Because this is his moment just as much as it's mine, you know? And then I've had other matches too, where like my brother Benny, like, he inspires me in so many ways. And he's someone that's openly recently talked about his depression. And it hit him hard, and we all saw it, and it was so hard to see him do it. But now he's lost 20 pounds and he's hitting the gym, and his confidence is coming back. And he's a mother, you know. I think he wants to wrestle. He's been hinting at it. I own a ring, and I think he has the world of potential. He's a big guy, you know, former football player and everything. So I'm excited for him. But for me to inspire him to uproot his life by Big B, change his life. And I've given him help, and he's come full circle.
That's awesome, brother. I mean, that's definitely been a great journey. You know, we're going to end it there. We're already over 2 hours here. It's been,
geez, that doesn't feel like
crazy,
it.
Huh?
It does not feel like it.
But yeah, man. I mean, what's before we end it, what's one message you want to give out to all the kids out there, all to the adults, everyone that's grinding?
Awesome. So for the kids, that's literally my favorite part of why I do it. My message to them is, everything is possible and the world is yours. Genuinely, and there's so many goals I want to accomplish, but I've gotten all the goals that I thought about 5 years ago. I've got them now. And it takes time. Patience. For the adults, it's never give up. It's never too late. I've had to restart because of COVID. I've had to restart because of a broken skull. I've lost family members. You know, I've seen death too many times. But there's always a way out. And you said it perfectly. Even if you don't see it in front of you, There's always a way out. There's always an answer. So that's my thing, is never give up. There's always a solution. Even this past month, I'm thinking to myself, I have to go to court and blah, blah, blah. And I lost my car, and that's, $15,000 and this, and I have to pay for the tow yard. That's another $800. And I'm like, nothing felt like it was working for me, but look, I found a way out, and now I'm still working for the little things, how would I get my car running again? But now what a blessing to have that adversity. So don't be afraid of adversity. I think overall, don't be afraid of doing the hard stuff would be my number one advice to anyone and everyone. Don't be afraid of the hard stuff.
Awesome, brother. Well, honestly, man, thank you so much for coming by today. It was definitely a pleasure. I mean, I can seriously keep talking to you for like hours and hours and hours. And honestly, brother, thank you so much for coming by and allowing me this moment with you.
Dude, thank you, man. It means the world. And I think we could do a part 2. I think we could have enough stories. And I did ramble on. I felt myself ramble, but like I never felt like it wasn't natural. And I thought
good. And that's what it's all about, bro. So June 12th, guys. June 12th.
Friday, June 12th.
Hey, we're gonna show up, me and my boys.
Perfect. That'll be in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Love that. And then I've been meaning to and wanting to train with you guys at your jiu-jitsu. I remember talking to you way back when, and that's a goal for me. I had to open up my schedule a little bit this week, but hopefully we could figure something out.
Figure it out, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. This is great.
Well, thank you so much, man. And
then really quick, YouTube, Tommy Test Wrestling, or Tommy 2 Scoops with number 2. I have a couple pages there. I'm trying to grow that. Instagram, it's Tommy 2 Scoops _ with the number 2. And then on Facebook, it's Tommy Test Wrestling. And then TikTok, it's Tommy 2 Scoops, TWO, Tommy 2 Scoops.
We'll make sure we tag you in all of it.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Again, brother, appreciate you so much, man. And God bless you, brother.
Same here, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man.